Alright, off we go. This is the IWF Roundtable Podcast with me, Ryan, and Ryan.
Gimmick infringement, brother.
So yeah, you were just talking before we started about that you did some wrestling training. Well, before around the time when we last spoke, about 12 years ago.
Which is scary. Yeah, so I did do. So yeah, well, as I was saying, it was literally all bodybuilders, people in the mid-20s. And in Northern Ireland, where I live, there is very, very few people and schools in general, so it was very, very niche to begin with. So I got right to the end of the training. I could do everything. I was good. My trainer said I was good, but I was just a bit impulsive, I suppose is the word. So if I couldn't get something, I got really frustrated, and then eventually it just got to the point where I couldn't do a flip bump. And I could do it technically, because whenever you do the old school sequence of arm drag into the headlock, off the rope, shoulder tackle, and then leapfrog, I could do all that, and then I could do a flip bump in the sequence. But whenever I can't remember his name, but one of the trainers said to me, right, do a flip bump. I just couldn't do a flip bump on its own. I needed to do it in a sequence with something. And even though I was like to them, I was like, doesn't that count though? Really? You're not going to say in the middle of a wrestling match, right, mate, do a flip bump. It's like, right, let's go into this spot where it's like you go off rope, then flip, do an arm drag.
Yeah.
So they were sort of on the fence where they were tempted just to let me pass because of that. But I was 16 and I was a teenager and I was miserable. So I was like, I can't be arsed. So I left.
It's funny that you mentioned about wrestling training, because I actually did some roughly around the same time, I think it was. And I don't know how likely it is they'll even see this anyway, because I don't think I'm friends with a lot of them. But it wasn't the trainer that's friends with me on Facebook anyway. It was a different one, I think it was. But I think they were a bit too full on, not aggressive, but they would be really oh, do this, do that, and I was like, well, hands on is all well and good, because obviously that's the nature of what it is. You need to sort of just get in there and understand it all. But I was like, well, some of this just doesn't feel enjoyable. I'm enjoying the whole exercise aspect of it, but the way some of it felt a bit too pushy, I was like, I might just call it quits, and if I find somewhere else, I might give it another try down the line. But it's not happened yet. So.
Well, there's still time. There's still time. I've had the same thought multiple times. I do a lot of youth work and stuff nowadays, working with younger people. And there's some days where I'm just like, well, I'm a runner. I run quite a lot. I've got quite good cardio. I didn't have any strength or cardio when I was one of the last 3 when I was a teenager. So I am tempted just to go back and finish doing my training at some point. But I've looked for wrestling schools, and after COVID, there is literally nothing over here.
Yeah, I think there was ones around here, but not in my immediate area. I was like, well, that means paying just to get there, to then have to pay them to actually do it. So it's figuring out how logistically it would work.
Yeah. But I think I will go back eventually. I don't want to leave it too late. I don't want to be 35 and then go back.
Yeah.
Because that would be very hard.
You do hear of a lot of wrestlers that start off quite young.
Why are you robotic now? You're robotic?
I don't know. My battery might be going low or something.
God damn it. Amateurs on this show.
Is that any better, or is it still the same?
Yeah, that's better now. Yeah. Just fighting with my dog now. No, I think we should both go back at some point. I think we owe it to ourselves because we love it so much that we need to do it.
Oh, definitely. And I think it helps that I was enjoying it for more than just the idea of wrestling. I was enjoying it for the exercise aspect of it as well. Because I was like, I can enjoy exercise and enjoy what I'm doing to exercise. So it was a good balance.
Is there any other of the boys from the gaming group we had that you still talk to?
I don't know if did you ever talk to anybody that had like Pepsi in their name?
Is that James? No.
No, I think he was
No.
like one Saved Horizon or something. There's two people that ended up meeting actually. One of them drove down and then picked the other one up. They were called like Scotland and Ireland Pepsi. I don't know if you ever run into them.
No.
But one of them actually wrestles now.
Oh.
In like Gloucester, I think it is.
So we got Carlos, who's a wrestler, and this other guy that's a wrestler. I felt bad for Carlos though, because I have him on my Facebook too, and then I saw he hurt himself, and then he's probably going to be out for like a year or something stupid.
Well, that's no good because, like you said, I don't think he's been wrestling all that long.
No, but he's funny. I used to like talking to Carlos before I knew certain things. But I still like him though. He's a good dude. I haven't talked to really anyone in 12 years. Like I've seen you and a few other people pop up on my Facebook, but I've just always been busy with life and other stuff to really talk about anything. So whenever you put out, do a podcast, would anyone be interested? I was like, yeah, why not? 12 years. Band have loads to talk about.
Oh, definitely. Like, do you remember who you used to wrestle as on the game much?
Carlos?
No, on the game when you used to play. Do you remember who you used to wrestle as a lot?
Oh, me? I was Nash, wasn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Nash. I don't know why. I didn't even know who he was at the time. Like, I only really... Whenever I was watching wrestling, like, I started watching it in very early 2000s, so, like, before Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
And then I was really young at the time, obviously, so I can't really remember much. But I didn't really know what WCW was until I was in my early 20s, because that's whenever I started listening to a lot of podcasts and actually watching old wrestling.
Yeah.
I love old wrestling. It's so much better than it is today.
Yeah, a lot of the time I feel like the same. Like, I wasn't too sure when AEW first came around what I was going to think of it, to be honest.
What do you think about it?
I think it's good to a certain extent, but I feel like there's too much. I know this word gets thrown around a lot. There's too much tribalism when it comes to it. I feel like people don't just like to enjoy it for what it is.
I've only watched it a few times. I watched like the very first like pay-per-view they did. Like I think it was the very first Double or Nothing. Was it the one in Las Vegas or was that All In? I can't remember what the fuck it was called. It was their very first one that they streamed.
Yeah.
Jericho was on it. I think he was in the main event.
Yeah, he's still there now.
I know. Oh, it's so weird though, because like Cena's retiring next year now, and Batista retired a few years ago. I used to love Evolution growing up, so like they're all gone now. Like I think Randy is literally on his way out too. He's only a few years left.
Yeah, his build's a bit different to what it used to be, and it's like I think he even corrected one of the announcers when they said his weight. It was like, no, all of that
now. Yeah, Randy, I'd be the same, mate, if I worked out and looked like shit else also. Up the numbers, do what WWE do best, and just overestimate what they actually get in terms of like audience and stuff, like pay-per-view sales.
Oh yeah, like I always like dunk on that even to this day. I'm like, that's obviously not the numbers. It's like when they combined the WrestleMania numbers when they started doing that. I was like, I mean, most of it's going to be the same people, surely.
Yeah, it was like, and I think my mum didn't really understand the concept because, like, whenever I was talking to her one day and she was coming past, she was like, there were 200,000 people in the arena in one night. I was like, no, it's 2 nights. She's like, okay, it's weird. And I was like, that's just how it is. But I still love wrestling. I just don't watch it anymore. Like, whenever I was a teenager, I would stay up and watch like Raw every week, but it was so exhausting. And now I can only really watch a pay-per-view once every so often because it is just so on so late and I have stuff to do.
I mean, I'm mostly the same, but because I work nights at a petrol station, most of the time I'm like awake during the night anyway. So I recently woke up, um,
Oh,
and then I'm like, I'm gonna be up until at least like 4 o'clock in the morning now anyway, because of
where
what
do
time
you
I woke up.
work?
A petrol station.
What kind of petrol station?
Uh,
Just petrol station?
yeah, it's like one of the Asda ones.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's
Do you
not like a
enjoy it?
massive one. It's okay. I'd kind of like to move to um, day shifts, to be honest.
Hmm. See, I'd be different. I'd actually quite like the nights because I don't like people. And it's better money too, because no one. How many people are willing to stay up till 4 in the morning, manning a cat like a register? Not a lot.
Yeah, like you'd be surprised on the people that aren't usually on those nights. When they get brought onto cover, and there's certain things they just don't do, and then they're like, "Why didn't you do it?" And they just don't have a reason. They just didn't do some of the stuff.
So, do you play video games still?
Yeah, yeah. Like recently, I've been replaying the Wolf Among Us Telltale game.
Ooh, now that's a good game. The second
I've
one's
been
meant to be
meaning.
out next year, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say,
Hmm.
I think that's meant to be coming out next year, but there's been very little like trailers and talks on it. At this rate, GTA 6 will be out before that is.
Yeah, that's nuts to me. Nuts that that game's actually coming out. GTA 5 was way too long lifespan. Like between
Well,
4 and 5, it was 5 years because I think it was
yeah,
2008 for GTA 4. But because online was so successful, it's like, why would we make a new game? I'm making millions.
yeah, because you can actually buy GTA Online separately and not have the actual GTA story game.
Have you played any of the other Telltale games like Walking Dead?
I haven't. I don't know if I've played them in full, but that's something I was looking to do for my channel. I might play through a lot of the Telltale games and like post videos on them.
They're very, very good. Very sad, but they're very good.
I do like the fact that I think it's that all the Walking Dead games, Telltale games, all like connect to a certain extent. Like the story continues.
Yes, choices carry over and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only
No,
thing I don't like about that aspect is that sometimes they don't always matter, but it's good when you see the stuff that you have picked does matter.
to be fair though, like the game is whenever it came out, it was only like 25 quid. It wasn't like a proper video game. It was more like a point and click. So they can only do
Yeah,
so much for that sort of money. Have you ever played any of the Mass Effect games?
I've. It's funny you say that, because I did recently start playing them. I've not got too far in, but I do like the way it's structured, and I do like the fact that they remade it, because from what I understand, the older versions of the game, like if you played them today, they don't hold up as much.
They don't work full stop on some PCs, so that's probably why they
Yeah,
remade them. Like I loved Mass Effect games, but then that's sort of a similar concept of right, it's an RPG, you make choices and they carry over and they'll have big consequences, but because that's like a full priced big game, you can see the choices matter more as opposed to like a Telltale, which is a lot smaller and can only do certain amounts of things.
yeah, that's a good point.
You have you played Red Dead 2?
That's another game I was wanting to get around to playing. I did notice that it was one of those games where it takes 2 discs to install it or something.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's so good. I've been playing games for 27 years and it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I've seen like videos on it where there's like lots of little like side quests and you can like go about it differently. I think I saw one where this guy like chases you or something if like you just don't do something else about it. He's in like a shack. And it's like really
Oh,
disturbing. I was like, oh, there's
yeah,
all
that
sorts of like
one.
little things like that. Yeah, yeah.
That little interesting side quest. It's a bit not. It's not really PG friendly.
No, definitely not. I did see that. I think somebody lassoed somebody and then chucked him onto a train track as well. There's all sorts of things you can do in that game. Then.
Oh, it's brilliant though. Like that, like even though that game doesn't sort of do the whole RPG with choices and stuff, depending on how you play and your honor level. Like if you have high honor, you do unlock certain like side quests and stuff and meet characters you wouldn't if you're a complete piece of shit. Which makes sense.
I think it's a shame to an extent that they've not done much with the Bully IP because that could be an interesting sequel that could do.
Yeah, Christ, that's rolling back the years. That's like 05, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And then Manhunt. Do you remember Manhunt? That was banned everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Just...
Like
yeah.
in GTA 5, there's literally a torture scene, and that's way worse than some of the stuff in the actual Manhunt games.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, the game just stops when you play in the GTA and you get to that section, and then it's like, what do you mean you have to torture this guy however I want? This is so weird.
When was the last time you went to see wrestling?
I'm actually going to see it tomorrow.
Oh,
in Sheffield.
Nice. Who's your favourite today? Like favourite wrestlers?
Oh, I don't actually know. Like, it used to be quite concrete, like back in the day when Shawn Michaels was still wrestling, and then when Sting retired again in AEW, which was a weird match that he did. Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Like, because there's this wrestling in AEW called Darby Allin that's like half of his face paint. And like for the longest time, ever since Sting was there, he was like always like teaming with him, and like Sting just never loses. He didn't even lose his retirement match. It was like a tag team title match, so he retired with the tag team titles.
Well, that's Sting for you.
And then recently, Darby Allin's been using the whole sort of similar gimmick to what Sting's been doing. He just like came down from the rafters, and it was that bad where one of the wrestlers that was involved in the segment, they had to take the apparatus off him because he was just there like this.
I have to admit, even though I haven't watched AEW, like their shows, I've seen some of their funny botches and clips, and God, they are funny. Like there was one where, wasn't it like a shark? There was like all of the heels were in the shark cage and they couldn't unlock it, so they just like went through the shark cage without unlocking the door anyway. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do that within the first 5 seconds of the match? That makes fucking no sense.
I think there was one where Chris Jericho was getting knocked off the top of a cage, or it was Chris Jericho or MCF, one of them. And then when they fall down, it's like so obviously fake padding that they fell on.
The barbed wire death match was great because they built that up to be like a massive death explosion. It was literally like a really shitty fucking sparkler.
I think ironically he used similar fireworks for like Orange Cassidy because his whole gimmick is he's so chilled out and he puts his hands in his pockets and all this. And I was like, well, they probably should have been more careful with how they build things up because, you know, people just crap on it online because like they do with anything these days.
I think it's just a lot of the writing. Like you need storylines that make characters make sense. Like, could you imagine like a guy with his hands in his pockets against like an Undertaker in a serious storyline?
Yeah, it was just like that's all well and good for if it's like a multi-man match, but if it's just like a quick match, maybe a push, but like a whole feud, it would be like, where do you go with this?
I like MJF though. He's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I think he's one of those characters that stays more true to himself when he's a heel. But it's a shame how this whole Adam Cole situation has been going because there was a point where I think he was supposed to be revealed as like this whole devil figure, which happened. But the problem is he like injured himself again, so most of the time he was like with crutches and shit. So it's like, well, they've now gone back to Adam Cole being a face, and MJF's now the heel, and MJF's going to be going against a faction that Adam Cole's with. So it's like, sort of like backpedal a bit because of how it's all gone about. So I'm like, well, storyline's been dropped then, surely. But no, they're doing it again.
Oh no, there's so many. See, the thing with AEW is they try to say, right, yeah, we're not WWE, but then they always sign all the WWE guys and then give them the biggest pushes, which doesn't make sense to me.
It sounds similar to what TNA was trying to do at one point, like where they were signing loads
Yes,
of
with
dudes.
Hogan and Angle and stuff.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle, he was fucking good, wasn't he?
Oh, definitely. You could argue he had a better career in TNA than he did Dury to an extent. Like he had a longer career anyway.
Oh yeah, like I sometimes watch matches on YouTube, just old ones for shits and giggles, and I saw one of him and Samoa Joe, and that was good.
Oh, definitely.
He was always someone I liked because he could play the goof and the idiot, and then he could laugh at himself, but then he could literally just pick you up and drop you on your neck and break your ankle, and was very smooth. Very, very smooth.
Oh, definitely. I think they're trying to make. Don't know if you've probably seen him because he's been wrestling in Dury for a while, but I think they're trying to make Chad Gable a similar vibe to what Kurt Angle was to an extent.
I mean, he's very good, like wrestling wise, but like they haven't really done a lot with him, and he was doing that stupid shushing thing, which really annoyed me. And then like the peace and thank you stuff, because then it just sort of took away from the seriousness he was trying to do in the ring.
Yeah.
But no, he's very, very good too. I like him.
What's
I actually
your
really
opinion
like Roman.
on Yeah, I was going to say, what's your opinion on Roman, how he is now?
Oh, he's phenomenal now.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted for years, just him to be like, do you know what, fuck this shit. If you guys are going to boo me, I'm really good in the ring. Yes, they're trying to make me the next John Cena. But he did have a lot of charisma, especially towards like, he came back in pandemic, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then he
he
like,
was ill at one point.
yeah, and then he like kicked the shit out of Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, and that was phenomenal. And then like the whole bloodline thing, it's just been like cinema. But it's annoying in a way though, because they're putting so much emphasis on that. And yes, the people involved are like really good, but there are a lot of other really, really good people that you could be given the similar treatment.
Oh, definitely, because then you have people that are contemplating leaving one like brand to go to the other brand, and then they feel like it's not as good there, so then they come back, and then it's like, my story's nowhere because I'm always just jobbing out to the bloodline.
But it is funny. It's like now with Solo in charge of like the mafia trying to take over and usurp Roman. That's very interesting also.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where it goes because I think the whole saga it's been going on for quite a while now.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, just a bit. What is it like? The 2019-ish that started. 2020?
I think
No, 2020.
it must be about that time. Yeah.
So it'll be 5 years coming up. And then The Rock's back in the mix, obviously, because that's what The Rock does. He just comes back when he wants to.
Yeah, 'cause apparently he's now like in management of WWE or something. I'm like, well,
He's
then
on the
surely if he
board.
wants, yeah, he
He's
could do
literally
like whatever he wanted.
He's like Vince McMahon. He could just show up when he wants and literally change things if he wants.
Yeah.
I've always liked The Rock though, but I don't really like him as a person anymore. But I've always loved him as a wrestler.
Yeah. I think I'm on a similar wavelength where I'm like, especially when it comes to some of his movies, like they just got kind of like they exist, and sometimes you don't hear about them until they're pretty much coming out.
The Rock playing The Rock. That's literally all his films. He's playing himself. There's no acting involved.
Yeah.
Like Batista's a phenomenal actor. I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either. I was like, oh yeah, another wrestler's going into movies. Let's see how this goes.
And then he did Guardians, and then he just broke out there, and then he did a lot of bunch of like indie films that he was really good and showed a lot of range. And even John.
Yeah.
I thought John was a bit of a joke as an actor because he was doing like stupid Fred films and stuff, but then he did Peacemaker and was basically John in a lot of ways, but he really showed that he can sort of act.
Yeah, it is good when they show their range and their like chops from being a wrestler and use that to be able to be an actor. But it's a shame whenever it doesn't work because then it's like, well, it's similar sort of field, so it should sort of like flow into it.
From the mental aspect, I'd say yes.
Yeah, it's like how do you really work into the idea of it's not physical anymore? Because some of them probably don't even do their own stunts. Like some actors probably don't do the stunts as much these days. Like they have like lots of stuntmen and what have you.
I think The Rock actually did do his own stuff, or am I mistaken? I think there was some wrestlers that did because it makes sense because they are stuntmen. Wrestling is stunts at the end of the day.
I mean that would be a relief to hear, especially like you say for The Rock, because you would think that he'd be able to manage it, logistically speaking.
I think he should stop taking steroids though at his age. He needs to stop.
No, definitely.
He looks ridiculous. He's gonna die.
I think somebody else that should probably, like Batista, like it's sometimes looks like he's still taking something.
To be honest, like if you put all of the big wrestlers in a line, you would probably get like a 0.1% of them that are actually natural.
Yeah.
Because wrestling is unfortunately steroids a lot of the time.
Oh, definitely. Like when you first heard when you were younger that it's not real, and then you're like, well, it definitely is real. Then you get a bit older and you realize it's like, well, it's real to an extent. It's just knowing.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's like being able to notice when a wrestler messes up. Like then I'm like, well, imagine how bad they feel because their training is so that doesn't happen. It's like those freak accidents when you see like when Enzo Amore used to wrestle and he like banged his head on the ropes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was brutal. That was fucking brutal. He couldn't wrestle, could he, love him? He tried, but he just couldn't.
I feel like all of his
character.
Yeah, all of his skills were on his character and his mic work, but other than that, I don't think he was a very good wrestler whatsoever.
Like I remember, do you know who I actually quite like Carlito back in the day? Like as a villain, like him just coming out with the apple and just spitting in people's faces as like a kid, that was just like the best thing ever.
I think he won the US title off John Cena.
Day one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a debut. Looking back on it, like beating Big Match John Boy. Do you ever get like emotional though? Like whenever a teenager, I can really give a shit about half of them, but whenever you realise now that you're a grown adult man and you're seeing all of these people you watch growing up just retiring and dying, it's like, oh, that's nice.
It's like, obviously I didn't watch him as much when he first started, but it's like when I heard that Bray Wyatt passed away, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was that was a kick in the dick because I really like Bray.
And to think what his new theme design was going to be, because they put it into the 2K game, you've got to pay like 10 quid extra, even if you've got the season pass. But
another reason why I don't like modern wrestling games.
Yeah, and then they've got all these incentives for you to pay more money to get these persona cards that you can't really do much on. Like you can't edit them or whatever.
They do the work of making these models, but then you can only unlock them doing a certain thing. Like, wouldn't it make more sense for them to unlock them for everyone rather than people modding the game to get them and then getting banned?
Yeah, because I think it got that bad that you can now just buy some of them. Like,
what's your favourite wrestling game?
I think like one of my favourites might be like that one that Punk was on the cover of. Was it 13 or 14?
Yeah, that was 13.
Yeah,
that was one we played together.
Yeah, I think that was one of the better ones, like for sure.
It was really good. I like.
It was a nice in between.
I love Day of Reckoning on the GameCube.
Hmm.
Phenomenal. Like, that was one of my favorite years in life in general, but it was probably my favorite wrestling year because my favorite wrestler, Batista, was in the big storyline with Trips and then beat him at WrestleMania. And then basically all of the big stars and all the storylines in that year was really, really good. Like Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania also.
Yeah, yeah.
That was just
Because
awesome.
wasn't that the story where Batista had the contract? You could pick which title he wanted
Yeah.
to do.
Allegedly, it was meant to be Randy, but he got suspended for his many temper tantrums. So Batista was next in line. But that was an opinion, like that was the epitome of wrestling because it was such a long storyline, a bit like the Bloodline is now, where it's such a slow burn and it's sort of subtle little things that, oh, maybe he's not happy he said that, or maybe he's thinking about challenging Triple H for the world title. But yeah, that year
Yeah.
was really good for wrestling. I love 2005.
Yeah, I liked how Evolution slowly broke apart how it did.
And it made sense as well why they broke up.
Yeah, because I felt like in the end it was more about Triple H.
Well, that the whole epitome of Evolution is basically him manipulating his little cronies to keep him as world champion. So whenever Randy won against Chris Benoit, and then he betrayed him because he couldn't get the job done, so he was jealous.
Mm.
And then Batista was slowly learning that, yeah, he's just in it for himself. Like whenever they did the Elimination Chamber and Triple H could have stopped him from being pinned and he didn't. It's like the subtle little things in the storytelling that was very, very good for that storyline.
Oh, definitely. It's like like you say, it's good to look back at some of the older stuff, especially if you don't always like the new stuff, because then eventually you might catch back up with yourself and watch not the new stuff now, but when it's not so new. Like, if you haven't, which you probably have because of how decent it was. If you like, I recommend the NXT Black and Gold stuff when like Adam Cole
Oh
and
my god.
Aleister Black was there. Like that was one of the best things they ever did. But it's a shame like they've gone back and then trying to backpedal back to how it used to be, or at least it seems like they're trying to.
I remember that was one of the only things that made me want to watch wrestling because the fucking actual main WWE was fucking shit. It was so
Yeah.
boring. And then whenever Trips was doing the whole stuff with NXT, whenever he got like Sammy in and Kevin Owens in, and then Neville, who's now Pac, it was just
A
so
pet hate I
good.
have is whenever people call him Pac, like they used to call X Pac. I'm like, there's no O in there, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's Pac, like Pac-Man.
Yeah, you didn't call him Pac, man.
Yeah, I love him too. He's another one that has the problem of he's a very good wrestler and he looks great, but he can't really speak and he never really speaks.
Yeah.
Like I think perception is reality, as Vince says, and it's true. Like if you look at someone
Yeah.
and they're 6'5" and built like Batista, you're probably like, oh, he's probably a badass.
I think it is weird to think that what was it, Batista, John Cena, and Randy Orton were they like all the same year or something? I think they all started out
Oh,
around the same
OVW?
time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Brock and Shelton too. There was others, I think, but they were the main ones.
Oh yeah, it's weird how obviously I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it's weird how like unless he's just taking a break, it's weird how they've tried to just almost pretend Brock Lesnar doesn't exist now because of
Well,
like
he
the
did.
scandals or whatever.
Yeah, he did do something pretty shitty. I mean, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's the equivalent of a Chris Benoit, but it's still pretty bad. So they'll
yeah,
need to either wait a long time to bring him back, or if they do bring him back, then yeah, we need to see how the waters will fare because I think it'll be very mixed. I don't think it like
yeah,
a lot of people will moan and complain anyway, but if what she's saying is true, then yeah, he shouldn't be back. But if she's been bullshitting this whole time or like inflating what really happened, then I think he should come back because Brock is one of those people where you're like, oh, if he really wanted to, he could literally kill half these people.
yeah. He's one of those wrestlers where it's like he's like legit, especially now that WWE and UFC are like connected now, he can lean into it even more than he even used to.
Yeah. And Brock was a fucking good fighter too.
Yeah.
He like he whipped a lot of people and he proved a lot. He had the same problem. Oh, as a wrestler trying to do something else, this guy's not going to be taken serious. And he proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, it was like for the longest time. I will admit that John Cena and Brock Lesnar, I wasn't always an overly big fan of either of them. But as time went on and they grew as characters, like I did always find it funny when John Cena would do promos with people that just aren't that good at promos, and he'd blatantly pretty much point it out. That's saying the only reason I'm here is because you can't do your job.
Yeah, that was the Roman one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I think when John sort of like wasn't really the poster boy anymore and sort of like started going to Hollywood, he didn't really give a shit as much about him, like his sport, if that makes sense. So he didn't try and put other
Yeah.
people down. He just came back and did what he was meant to do and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to put you over because it makes sense. But it'll be interesting to see his retirement year. There's a few matches I'd like to see, like now Punk's back as well, because them two were another reason why I loved wrestling in the early 2010s. Whenever Punk became world champion and then left, but then came back with cult personality. That was a good few years with wrestling, especially when Rock also came back and Brock came back.
What were your thoughts when Edge came back the first time? Like when he
at the Rumble?
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I did get a bit emotional. I did.
Yeah.
Because I loved Edge, but I didn't love him as much as I thought I did. But then he actually did a podcast with Christian.
Yeah.
And then just listening to them two shit talk and talk about wrestling was the greatest. And then it was a bit weird, I thought, whenever he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to retire from doing this podcast because, I don't want to do it anymore. I was like, yeah, that's weird. Why would you just randomly do that? And then a few months later.
That's a bit odd.
Yeah, a few months later, here he comes. But yeah, he's great, and he looked really happy too, and he deserved that, I suppose. Even though he did cheat on his wife with his best friend's missus, and I thought that was a bit shitty.
It's a bit strange how he went from all the stuff he was doing in WWE to then going to AEW, and he just ended up injuring himself. I think basically he jumped from a cage, tried to do an elbow drop, and somehow did a foot stomp in a way, but it didn't look good or didn't really work at all. So then I'm like, maybe they should be a bit more careful when they're doing these like stunt like spots.
Isn't he like nearly 50?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
He really shouldn't be. It's like when all these times when I saw Shane McMahon do this, it's like, bro, you're like nearly 60 or however old you are. You've got kids and your hair's going grey. Like, come on now.
When was it? It was a few years ago when he came back at the Rumble, and he was like one of the strongest, like portrayed wrestlers. He came back and he was like toeing up with Brock Lesnar. I was like, what is going on?
I think it's
because it was like it makes sense if he came back and then like got thrown over the rope, but then he came back and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be one of the guys that do the most."
Yeah, apparently he was trying to book himself, and like even Vince McMahon was like, "No, you can't be doing that."
Oh my god, WrestleMania though! Did you see what happened to him at WrestleMania?
Oh, is it when he tripped?
Yeah,
like his ankle or something. Yeah.
Oh, I was so embarrassed because he came back at the Rumble, like trying to be like, "Yeah, I'm going to come back and show what I'm made of," and he came back at WrestleMania and he literally tore both his quads. Did a Vince, like father, like son.
Yeah, because I think Snoop Dogg was in the ring when it happened. I think.
And he did really well in improvising. Like he saw something went seriously wrong. He could have just stood there and just like waved his hands like everyone else. But he was like, no, I'm not letting you do that. He just went and full on right hooked him, like really right hooked him. I didn't even think that was a work, brother.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I really hope that Hulk Hogan doesn't come back to wrestling.
Oh, for the love of God.
for any match whatsoever.
I don't even think he'd be able to walk down the ramp without dying. It was like Ric Flair, like wrestling again, and then he literally had a heart attack. He literally had a heart attack in the match.
I don't know if it was the same match, but one of his last matches, I think he like fell asleep while I was in that tag team match.
Yeah, that's the one. The reason he fell asleep was because he had a fucking cardiac arrest. Like, I googled
Jeez,
that.
I
I was
shouldn't
like,
be
that's
laughing, but that's
weird.
ridiculous.
I was like, that's weird. What was he doing? And then you look online, and it's like, oh, apparently he did have a heart attack. And it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't be fucking wrestling at nearly 70 years old. I think he's older than that. I don't even know how old he is.
It might be. But like, there is definitely a point in time where, you know, they should be like doing more creative stuff, if anything. Maybe if they're going to be on screen, like just get maybe pushed at the most or something. Like, there's definitely people that I think have like been taken out too soon. Like, I really miss the fact that Bobby Roode's not on screen anymore because he was good for what he did in
glorious.
Yeah.
I loved that period of NXT whenever he was champ because yet again he was like a Roman making it memorable. And everyone he wrestled, it was always a good match. Like he wrestled Shinsuke, and I think he wrestled like Aleister Black and a few others. I can't even remember. Like it felt like yesterday, but that was like 2017, so that was like 7 years ago. So aging myself even more now.
But yeah, it was quite interesting that period of NXT for definite. It's just a shame that they've only just now, well, it feels like they're only just now realizing how good it was. Now they keep having these periods of realizing, oh, we should do more with this. I was like, yeah, you should do more with this. It's like it could be your third brand, but be developmental at the same time.
Didn't they beat AEW in the ratings at one point?
Yeah, I think they
NXT?
did. I think they even did it again recently. Like they beat their combined 3 shows. If you put the viewings all together, they beat it. And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy."
No, I like. I think like a lot of the women nowadays are very, very good. Like women back in the day were just like, you know,
Not really
there
giving
for eye
much.
candy. Yeah. And now they're like full-on athletes, and some of them I would say are 99% better than most of the men, which is lovely.
I mean, that's a good point to be fair, because like it gives more of a reason to do what they've been doing. We're giving them like I think they got another title in NXT recently, like a mid card title. So maybe they should do the same thing on the main roster where they get like another title and actually give them more TV time, because a lot of them, like you say, are better than the actual main like the actual guys.
You've gone robotic again, by the way.
Not quite sure why it keeps doing that. And if I just
yeah,
a little bit better.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, the women are fucking phenomenal now. Like Rhea Ripley's one of my favorites, but then she got hurt again, and she did it to herself, which is the funniest thing. It's like no one can beat me. Only I can beat myself. But yeah, she's very, very good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I completely agree. It doesn't help when they're also booking her like that. So then her mentality is just going to be that all the time, probably.
What, headbutting everyone?
Like, oh, I can do this, and I'll be completely fine. Instantly injured.
I really liked when Asuka was NXT champion for like ages, and then she was undefeated, and then of course Charlotte beat her, which I think she shouldn't have. I think Asuka should have beat her at WrestleMania because that makes sense. You have this long run, and then you don't fucking win at WrestleMania.
I feel like you should have had Asuka win, and then it is John Cena. Like you should have had Asuka then lose like the night after or at the next pay-per-view or something. Like you should have let her have that WrestleMania moment to then cap it off. So it's like that's where people can look back on and go, "Oh, that was like one of the standout moments of Asuka's like NXT career," which ironically was at WrestleMania.
Sure, do you remember they did the same with Shinsuke? He won the Royal Rumble, and then he was facing AJ, which was so apropos in many ways, and then he lost.
Yeah. I honestly feel like even if you had someone like Sami Zayn or like anybody that's good at talking, even if you had somebody that was helping him be like his mouthpiece, he could have easily had that match as a winning like point in his career, had the championship and still made it work, but they went with the direction they did, I suppose.
It's annoying because Shinsuke was fucking scary in NXT and so intimidating, and then he just, whenever he was on the main roster, he just became a bit of a joke. But that was Vince, I think, as well, doing what he does best, just ruining fucking everything.
Yeah, he was very much known for just ripping up plans, even when the show was going. I think, like for literally no reason, majority of the time.
One of my favorite things just ever nowadays is listening to the amount of shit that comes out of Hulk Hogan's mouth. Just the lies he tells. It's just the funniest thing because it's just so demonstrably not true, half the shit he says.
Can you think of some now?
Oh, I can think of a few. He said he worked 400 days in 1 year. That was one of them. And I'm like, okay, how did you work that out? And he's like, well, because you go past the time zones from the whole way to Japan and back, you gain days. And I'm like, yeah, but you fucking lose them when you go back, you mong. Like, dear God. And then there was one recently where he did an interview with this woman, and then he's like, yeah, I worked WrestleMania in London and Michael Jackson was there and backstage. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? WrestleMania's never even been in London.
No.
I think it was SummerSlam actually at Wembley, which that did happen. But then he said, oh, yeah, there was a Make-A-Wish kid and I got him in the front row seat to watch me wrestle in the main event. I'm like, well, you weren't in the fucking main event, mate, so that's a lie. You weren't even on the card. It was like Brett and Bulldog, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's fucking brilliant though.
One of the moments in Hulk Hogan's career that I definitely did not appreciate was that bloody random cash-in moment they did with that Yokozuna Bret Hart match they did.
Yeah.
Like, he just randomly ran in. Like,
it made 0 sense as well. Like, Bret fucking is fighting for the title, and then he's just like, oh, I'm a bit beat up, and then Hulk's like, do you want me to take care of this? He's like, yeah, all right. I'm like, no, fuck you, it's my moment, mate, back off.
Yeah. I'd be like, I'd rather lose than you take it away from him, big dog.
I do love Hulk Hogan, I loved him. See, that's why I liked old wrestling, because it was a bit cartoonish in a lot of ways, but I did like just how big the personalities were back in the day. And then but I didn't like how he fucking did what he did best and just made everything about him all the time. Because there's a lot of moments when he should have, laid down for the other people. And he did that once with the Ultimate Warrior, but then he had to sort of make himself look good and kick out on 3, sort of. So it's like, oh, maybe he didn't beat me.
It's like, yeah, I think one of the times I saw that match, one of the first times, I was like, but why did he feel the need to move? Like, what did that really accomplish? He tries to make himself look bigger than the match result, basically, I suppose.
And then with Shawn Michaels in 05, he did the same thing. He came back and he did it with Randy as a late 50s Hulk Hogan who could barely move, and he's going to beat Randy when he was the Legend Killer, and that would have made perfect sense because Randy would kill the Ultimate Legend, but that is Hulk Hogan. And then Shawn Michaels,
Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan.
And then Shawn Michaels was just doing what Shawn does best and just sticking around because he wasn't happy, and I wouldn't have been fucking happy either, to be honest. I'm
he was just overselling constantly, and I'm like, I don't blame him at all.
Yeah, because why would Hulk come back and in his position, John does it really good now, where he knows, right, I'm nearly 50, I can't do it full time, but I'm a really big name and lots of people know me, so if I lay down for people, make them stars. But Hulk's like, no, not on my watch, mate. Shawn, I'm gonna run wild on you, mate, and then I'm going to do the same to Randy and just make myself look good.
Like, imagine if uh, Hulk Hogan was in the Rock spot right now in the
Oh
Bloodline
my
for like
god.
no reason. He definitely would do all the same shit.
It'll be like Cody would be lying down, like whenever everyone was running in, and then he'd come in and be like, I'll tell you what, brother, I'm going to add myself to this match and I'll show the Bloodline how it really goes down. Then he just beats them all of them by himself. That would be the funniest thing. I would actually love that, but then I'd realise, oh fuck, now he's going to be champion and has ruined like everything, all this hard
It
work.
just, yeah, it'd just be even funny because obviously Cody and Hulk Hogan got similar character vibes in how much they like their country. And then he'd be like, I'm more American than you. And I beat them.
I do think that Cody, though, has had, I wouldn't say a lackluster run because he hasn't really had anyone to work with, like really good bad guys. But I feel like once he does turn, which I think would probably happen at some point towards WrestleMania, maybe, because now Roman's come back, he's just mega popular again, which he should be because he's great.
Yeah,
So I think
definitely.
Cody needs to turn at some point. And he would be good as a heel because he'd be like, well, look, it was my story, mate, and then you all made it about you. So fuck you.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I'm the
basically, I think
champion.
that's how it should go. I feel like he can do a heel turn quite well, even if he supposedly keeps saying in like interviews and stuff that he doesn't want to do. I feel like it surely has to happen.
Wasn't he booed in AEW?
Yeah, like 'cause he was always there in a suit and tie, and he did this whole like angle where because I think it was MJF, I can't remember who he lost to, but he was like, if I lose this match, I can't challenge for the world title, and because he lost, he couldn't. But I was like, in my head, I was like, but you're one of the EVPs, surely you could have not done that.
Well, he could have like healed it up even more and been like, well, I'm an EVP, so fuck you. I go back on what I said. I'm going to put myself
Yeah.
in this match.
But instead, he was just like up in the TNT, which is one of their mid card titles. It's sort of like their network title, you could say, with
I
how
saw the
it's named and whatever.
I saw the promo he did with Anthony Ogogo. Do you remember that one?
Oh no, unfortunately.
Fucking hell. I don't know what he was talking about. Like, it was so convoluted because it was like, yeah, I love America and I hate this guy because he's English. And also, I'm having a baby with a woman who's black, but I'm going to kick the shit out of a black guy. And it's like,
It's
okay.
like it sounds it almost the way even hearing it back now, it sounds like a 12-year-old that's talking a Call of Duty lobby.
Mate, Call of Duty lobbies were way more explicit and actually had better verbiage most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell he was talking about. And then he was like saying that he workshopped all his promos. Like he went to like fucking focus groups. And I'm like, did not one person say in the focus group that maybe, if you're trying to preach about how inclusive you are, that you shouldn't kick the shit out of someone who's foreign and black? Like sort of goes against your message.
It's almost like, are you trying to be a heel? No, I'm not. Then what the hell are you talking about then?
He was 100% a heel though. Like towards the end, he was like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to turn heel," but he was definitely a heel.
Yeah.
100%. Like, because everyone was booing the shit out of him. Why would he come out and try and do a John Cena?
It's like, no, I'm not going to heel turn. It's like, yeah, you're not, because you already have.
What do you think of Kenny Omega?
I think he's been unfortunate with his illness. I can't remember exactly what it is. It passes me by, but I think it's obviously something he couldn't avoid. But I think he's one of those wrestlers that, at least in the past few years, WWE should have got
Oh, 100%.
when they had the chance, in a similar
Yeah.
manner to when they got AJ Styles.
I feel like if he had proper, like a big company, like even though AEW is big, but obviously it's not big, But I think if he was in with really big stars and people actually knew how to be big stars, he would be a really good star because he's actually quite good as a wrestler for a few of the stuff. But he does come across like a bit of a dick sometimes with some of the stuff he says.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's very, very good too. It's not really like if you said to me, right, who would you take from AEW? There's like two people, and it'll be him and probably MJF.
Yeah.
Like there's not
Ironically,
that many.
yeah, I was
that
gonna
I
say,
would.
ironically, there's not that many really. Like, because like most of them, are, to an extent, have just already been in WWE.
Yeah, that's. And then Tony Khan's like, yeah, we don't want to be WWE. They're the Harvey's Weinstein of pro wrestling, but we're going to take all their stars and then make them the big stars. So it's like TNAEW.
Yeah. We're totally not, but we totally are at the same time.
I feel like if he wasn't in charge, like if he just had all his money and you got someone, like even the Paul Heyman, like even though he still didn't fucking survive in the end, but he knows how to do stuff and he has built a lot of stars. Like, I think
Yeah.
someone could do something with all that caliber of talent, in quotations.
Yeah, I think I don't know how true it was. I'd have to maybe get the clip or look it up at some point. But I swear there was a time when Paul Heyman got approached to go to TNA, and I think he said, "What I'd do is I'd get rid of pretty much all the legends, and I'd make it
Yeah,
like I'd make it a show about the younger generation,
which
and
it should
still
be.
have AJ Styles as one of the bigger wrestlers for it, because then you build it around your actual stars, not around all the legends."
Could you imagine if they got him like around just before 2010 when Shawn retired? Like, could you imagine that being one of the big retirement matches, like him and AJ?
Hmm. That
That'd
that
be
that
fucking
definitely could have
amazing.
worked. Yeah. Yeah. I think there was rumors that that was going to happen, and there was also rumors that Undertaker versus Sting was going to happen, but it just never did.
Have you ever listened to the Undertaker's podcast?
Um, I've seen clips, but not in full.
Well, he was saying that they wanted to work together, but because Sting was so loyal after WCW closed and he didn't want to work for the competitor, he went to TNA and then it just never happened. Even whenever he came briefly in like 2015 for 5 minutes and then he wrestled Triple H for some strange reason. Like, I didn't see the point. Like, you had The Undertaker. Give the people what they
Yeah,
want.
yeah. I feel like that was definitely a situation where it was a lose-lose situation. Like, what was the point having the match with Triple H? Oh wait, it's just because Triple H wants to be another WCW guy, apparently.
It's weird now because whenever NXT was really good, Triple H was in charge, and now that he's not in charge anymore, like it was shit. But then Shawn took over, and now it's quite good again. Apparently, like I've
Yeah,
seen clips. The
it is
women are
weird
very
to think
good.
that DX has effectively taken over the company.
I still can't believe he's in charge. I used to joke about it with my sister because whenever he married Stephanie, I'd be like, God, it'd be funny if Vince dies, if he was in charge, because the amount of shit he would do. Like, I just thought
Yeah.
it'd just be such an ego trip for him. But he's actually done quite well with, especially the big stuff, like the big storylines. But there's some things I'm like, no, he's fucking around. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the clip where Triple H unveiled the Crown Jewel
Oh,
Championship, and he did
God.
not look very comfortable in that whatsoever.
I wouldn't be. Would fucking going over there and doing a show for those maniacs. Yeah, you get like 50 million a show, but you have to. One thing that was really backwards about that, though, was the whole, yeah, we're all about the women, women's evolution, and then it's like, right, on this show, no women are allowed. Sorry. So what the.
and, the,
It just. Okay.
and then eventually they were allowed, but they got to pretty much cover the whole body in like a suit, like Goldust did.
Well, at least Goldust made that shit work.
Like, it just looks like they're so uncomfortable, which I would be as well, where you've got no choice in what you're wearing apart from how it looks slightly.
See, that's
Then
another
you've
thing
got
that annoys me because it's like Vince fucking made the deal, but now he's gone. All these assholes, well, not assholes, but all these people that want to lead the company and don't want to do it still have to fulfill their obligation.
yeah,
So it's like it's a lose-lose, and money's always involved.
it is a bit of a strange one. Obviously, this is a weird transition. I've invited one of the people from the Discord that this podcast is part of
Oh yeah.
to join us. They're from America,
Oh,
so we might in passing talk about the election just to see their opinion on it. But I'll be honest, I'm indifferent to all things politics because a lot of the time this is how I feel. That they will say anything they want just so they're in power, and then do none of it unless it's relevant to them.
mate. My whole theory was, I was saying this to a friend of mine, I will run for office and be the most homophobic, racist asshole and get in office and then actually be like, sorry guys, I was joking, I'm going to be really inclusive. Just,
I actually love the whole community, and I just wanted to get in just stick it to everybody, that sort of thing, because
yeah,
that would be quite funny if somebody did that. Not
because it
not in
makes,
any.
but like fucking, all these people in power around the world are the most horrible, vile people. So if you pretended you were a horrible, vile person, and then got in office, and then you're actually a really progressive, inclusive person, that'll piss off so many people, but you'd actually do everyone a lot of good and save the world in a lot of ways.
You'd actually do more good than the people that are still in power, because a lot of the time, like I say, they just keep promising stuff all the time.
That's why I won't promise anything. Then no one can say I break my promises.
Well, yeah, exactly. In the previous episode, the person that's I'm about to bring in, their partner was on. I don't know if you've watched any of the episodes yet, but their partner was on. And yeah, it was nice to hear people enjoying wrestling, and I think being brought together through wrestling, and even if it is sometimes a bit of a soap opera, it
That's why it's
sometimes don't
great,
make
mate.
sense.
Like, I had a person the other day, like, you always get it, don't you? Like, so what do you do in your spare time? Oh, I listen to music, watch a bit of wrestling. He's like, oh, isn't that fake? I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah.
like
So, what's your point?
yeah, it's
You're
like
like, yeah.
what's your point? It's like
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but they're pretending it's real. I'm like, I watched a clip of
you
Jim
know, who gives
Snitsky golf kicking Lita's born child into the stadium, and you're trying to tell me that shit is real.
Yeah, it was like I mean, it's an interesting time to bring you on, Carson. This is Ryan, obviously Ryan and Ryan, um, talking about Snitsky boot kicking a baby, which obviously wasn't a real baby, but just the visual of that was just hilarious. Like
Well,
that,
thank
it
you guys
just
for
kind of
having me.
yeah, it's all good, it's all good. But this is up to you to say. But what's your opinion on the election that's going on?
In my opinion, I mean, I really don't care about politics. I'm not really into that. I mean, because isn't the world always still kind of problematic?
The world's ending,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah. The war's ending. We just don't know it yet.
Yes,
The world's been ending for 10 years now, I think, maybe even longer.
pretty much.
So how
2012,
did you
mate. It's already
guys make?
finished.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Through the not the Discord that this is in, but through another Discord. It's similar to how the League is, but you play the character through the Discord. Um,
I do.
so like me and Ryan met through. So the difference between the League, what me and Ryan used to do, and the EFED that we're part of, is you play the character in an EFED, but whereas in the League you're actually playing the matches. it's a bit of a strange difference, really, because you do character work and stuff, and I'm like, I could use this to actually be an actual wrestler to an extent. I could put the two experiences together, and actually,
Yeah.
like we were saying earlier, Ryan, I could actually go back and do training. I'd have to travel further, but I could do it.
Mate, I live in an island. There is nothing over here. There is no schools. There is. Whenever I did it, I was like 16, and there was one school, and then during COVID, like, there's just nothing. So if I wanted to wrestle, the best I would get I'd have to go out and mud wrestle, or I'd have to go over to England.
Yeah.
I'd have to go mud wrestle.
For me, I started e-fitting back in 2018, and that was basically exactly where I met my fiance Travis, and we've been, in a couple of e-fits together after that, and then it just took off from there. And
So,
recently,
Ryan met his missus that he's married to on Tinder of all things, and you met someone on an
I
e-fed.
despise Tinder. I really do.
Why is everyone finding people and I can't? I'm trying to do the responsible grown man thing and go out and
He's
meet
trying to-
people.
Man's just trying to go to the pub and meet somebody, and then I'm like, well, I've met somebody online.
I met someone on Tinder, like the cesspool that is.
I met mine through Twitch.
That's a bit better, I suppose. Last person I met on Tinder wanted me to strangle her in bed.
Oh no!
So
Jesus Christ.
that fizzled out pretty quickly.
Did they at least like wrestling?
Well, I brought it up and they didn't really give a shit, so that really ended things for me.
You're like,
I was
at
like-
least do the choke slam.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried meeting people through Facebook, and that didn't really work out at all. And I
Facebook,
actually
though.
met someone also through a friend of mine and ended up marrying, and that never worked out. Ended up divorcing his ass. And then I met somebody else through another friend of mine while I was living out in Nevada at the time. And that also didn't work out because he got completely toxic as all hell. And now I'm with Travis, and oh my gosh, things couldn't be better.
Well, there you go then.
Been with them for about 4 years and engaged for nearly 2.
Oh, nice one.
You can have any kids?
No, nor do I want any. Well, for 2 reasons. One, I'm in my 40s. Don't get me wrong. Number 2, I mean, like I said, I'm getting up there in age, and I just don't know how my body's going to handle it with all the stress and all that stuff.
True. So do you watch wrestling too then? I take it we're all wrestling people here.
I do. I watch Raw, SmackDown, and NXT with some friends through a different Discord server. But
Awesome.
I've basically been a fan of it off and on since I was a little girl. Fell out of it a little bit and still watch it from time to time. And
What was your guys' first memory of wrestling? Do you remember?
ooh,
I know what mine is, but I'm leaving mine till last because it's funny.
for me, okay, it's basically going to like oh gosh, I remember this quite well, but me and my parents and my brother we went to this, I guess, I can't remember what it was, but they were in Auburn Hills at the time. They basically did an event at the Palace of Auburn Hills, and or was it? Yeah, it was from the Palace of Auburn Hills, and or was this the Silverdome? No, it's definitely at the Palace. But me and my brothers, we had our face painted, kind of like the Ultimate Warrior. And oh my gosh, it was so amazing.
We were literally just talking about how great the 80s was for wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an 80s child, so yeah.
I'm 94, so I'm not far off.
I'm 81.
96.
Yeah, all right, Ryan. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I mean, some people think that I don't look my age. I'm dead serious. I mean, because, okay, funny story. When my fiance showed a picture of me, and this was while we basically began dating. They showed a picture of me to one of their friends, and she was like, "Wow, I mean, she's really beautiful." They're like, "How old is she?" That was when he admitted my age, and they were like, "Are you serious?" It's like, what's your secret? I mean, does she have like an anti-aging regimen or something like that?
Anti-aging cream.
There is no secret. I'm just naturally the way that I am.
Well, I lost my hair at 18. So that was fun. It aged me like 20 years.
Mm.
What
And
do
the
you do that
people
for,
I
Ryan?
work with. What?
What did you do that for? Was it a trust?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. It's a very deep question.
Just raged so hard it fell out.
Fucking no, I don't know. My dad was bald, so inevitably I was going to be bald eventually, but I didn't think it would be 18. Well, that was a bit of a kick in the dick.
Mm.
People I work with now always give me shit for having no hair. And just always every 2 seconds it's some sort of joke about how I have more clothes than I do hair follicles. That's always one.
Jesus Christ.
But a good fun, Mike.
I think one of my earliest memories of wrestling was probably during the Rock Stone Cold feud. That's one of the things I can remember. Like, I've watched wrestling before that, but I always remember also watching this like videotape where it was like videos, not DVDs, videos, where it was like memorable moments of Sting and Goldberg, I think it was. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I always laugh at the who ran over Stone Cold storyline. And it's just like the world's most random person. You could have just got like Dave from across the road. Yeah, it was him, mate. He
didn't make. You ordered it in aid of the bloodline. If you didn't know it yet.
But he did sort of do it for The Rock, didn't he?
You know, funny enough, I mean, none of that. Also, think about it. I also met Rey Mysterio. One of the car shows back in, I think it was like 2012. Yeah, it was back in like 2012.
I was speaking to a police officer that was doing like a presentation thing for the girls I work with, and he was telling us a few interesting stories, and apparently I said to him, "So who's the biggest person you've ever arrested?" And he said Mark Henry. And I was like,
"Oh no.
What did he do?" And he's like, "Oh, he didn't do anything. The problem was there was someone in a bar that was giving him a lot of grief, asking for his autograph, so he just turned around and decked the guy." Why would you want to? Why would you want to even poke that bear? He's the world's strongest man. Or was.
Jesus Christ.
Probably
I love
like
Mark
2 or
Henry.
3 sets of handcuffs.
Yeah.
Do you remember the fake retirement?
Yes.
Oh, the whole salmon suit
The
they
salmon,
had, yeah.
the lion-ass suit that AJ Styles did recently.
Yes.
I saw that. I was like, "You're not retiring, mate. You're auditioning."
He's auditioning.
I mean, as
But
soon as
no.
I heard that, I was like, "There's no way."
Fucking Mark Henry though. I loved him. Like even in like '05, whenever I was really watching, whenever he was fighting with like Ray and Batista and stuff, and then obviously with the Hall of Pain in like 2010, 11ish, that was really good too.
So, if you could think about one particular video game that you've played a lot of, what would it be and why?
Ooh. Mm. Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Like, do you just play a lot of fighting games, or is it just like
I
something you play with
do.
a lot of friends?
I do. When I first started streaming, that's what I based my main focus on was fighting games, and I basically mained Cammy because I basically resemble her a lot because I mean she had that one scar on her face. As for me, I have 2 on my face.
Oh, right.
Why do you have scars?
Well, this one right here, I don't know. Like on my eyebrow, I fell onto an ottoman when I was little, and then the one on my lower lip, I fell off a window ledge.
Jesus.
Let's
Interesting
just say I was
childhood.
a bit of a klutzy kid.
Did you ever burn your house down as a kid?
No.
I nearly did that.
No.
That was an interesting day. And no one believes me, but I literally nearly burnt the house down because I asked my dad to remove the spiders from the room and he wouldn't do it. So I just grabbed a box of matches as a 4-year-old and
Oh my gosh.
took matters into my own hands.
Decided to literally burn it down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking more like this fire burns rather than Seth, but he should bring that back. I really love that theme song.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What was the question again? You asked what my favorite game is?
Yeah, yeah. And what and like, why did you play the most on it, and what have you?
Well, I know it might be hard to believe this, but I am wearing a Gears of War hat and a Gears of War shirt and a Gears of War. I have a Gears of War painted wall, so that's not my favorite. No, I don't know. I have this conversation with my friends all the time. I have to do it by generation because that's how old I am and genre. So if you're asking me what my favorite PS2 game was, it would be Silent Hill 2. If you're asking me what my favorite 360 game was, it would be Gears of War 2 or 3. If you're asking me what my favorite game of all time is, that's tough. Changes. Probably Red Dead 2 at the moment.
Yeah.
Because that was just amazing and made me cry like a baby.
I'd say one of mine would probably be Persona 5. It's a game I put probably too many hours into, but I played
Is that like
the
JRPG?
Yeah. So I played the original, and then the sort of remake where it's called like Persona 5 Royal. There's like more content in it. There's like a few more characters. You can end up putting like 100+ hours in some of these games these days, especially if you've got the time.
Have you ever played D&D?
Yeah, I've played D&D a little bit. Not recently.
I love it, but the problem is I'm the moron that has to do the DMing all the time because no one else can be asked. So that's a lot of work because you have to write stories. I'm basically like a part-time author half the time. But that's fun.
Bloody hell.
It's hard finding people to play with though, like as a player. Like it's a lot easier as a DM because no one wants to DM because it's too much work.
But you
Plus,
can
it
even do it
also
online
depends
these
on the
days.
person's availability.
True.
Yeah, there's that as well.
See, we're enforced in close spaces where I sort of do my work, so it's like, well, we've got to do something, so do you not want to just fucking do something fun rather than stare holes at each other the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
So motivating teenagers is a pain in the ass. Don't do it. I was one, so I'm allowed to say that. Ryan, you were quite a well-behaved teenager, weren't you?
Me?
Yeah. Well, who else? Is there more Ryans?
Yeah, there's I used to work with Ryan as well.
There's too many of us. Like whenever I was born, my mum was like, "Oh, this is such a niche name. No one's gonna pick this." And then literally, I was in a class with 3 Ryans. I'm like, for fuck's sake, can someone just have a different name?
But yeah, I was pretty quiet when I was younger. I didn't really get up to much. And then one of the things I wanted to do when I got older was like maybe work in the radio or like be a comedian or something. I was like, got to actually like build up a bit of like momentum with that. And then I was like, oh, maybe I could do voice acting, or maybe I could be a wrestler. I was like, I was trying to do too many things. I was like, oh, you need to actually pick something and start with something. So like we mentioned earlier, Anna, not only have you done wrestling training, but at one point I did as well. I do actually have a video on my YouTube channel where there is some voice acting, but it's more like it's sort of like pretend, like trying to do the voices. But a lot of the time, I've heard in passing from some people where it's better to do your own voices rather than imitation sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say that's true. Because only you know what you can and can't do in terms of inflections and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you done wrestling training, Carson?
As in, like, in real life?
Get in the ring?
Or...
Yeah, get
Yeah,
in the
like
ring.
real wrestling.
No.
No.
Why not?
Is it just not something you've been bothered about?
No.
Why not?
Family, mostly.
Oh, mate. Yeah, true. I'm the same. But I have made a promise to myself I need to go back and finish it because I nearly finished it and then I threw a tantrum as a teenager. So I need to go back and finish it. Because we know people, me and Ryan both know people who we played with that are wrestlers now. So we need to
As in,
actually...
like, professionally?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually have, like, a couple of friends that one of them's in the Indies.
Oh.
Hmm.
See, I think you should do it.
Mhm.
What's your best dad joke, Ryan, if you're a comedian?
That's best dad joke. It's not really a dad joke, but I once like this would be a sort of joke that would piss off some vegetarians and convenience potentially. And one time when I first came up with it, I was like, it's probably not original, but it's one of those jokes that once you've heard it once, you feel like you've probably heard it before. And I was like, oh, what do you call a chicken and egg sandwich? And then the first time somebody responded, I was like, that's the sort of response that I expected. I was like, oh, it's a family reunion. They were like, what the fuck?
Oh. Yeah. A lot of mine aren't really suitable for public consumption, shall we say.
Yeah.
I do that to like the teenagers that I work with. I always tell dad jokes and they're like, please stop. I'm like, I'm not going to stop. Because they're just too funny.
What about you, Ryan? Do you ever see yourself being a dad?
A what? A dev?
Do you ever see a dad?
Oh,
Fair enough.
I don't know is the real answer for a few reasons. One, I'm a 30-year-old man. Two, I'm on the autistic spectrum, so that's awkward as it is.
Yeah,
Hmm.
same here.
Trying to, what are you one of us?
I'm autistic as well since I was 5 years old.
It's not fun life.
It's not. It really isn't. I get
And it's-
teased constantly when I was younger.
But yeah, that's just, I can't do certain things. Like I have nephews, nieces and nephews. I can't change nappies and stuff, not because who does, but I just can't cope with certain smells and sounds and shit. So I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd have to have a really understanding partner to be like, oh, you don't want to change the shitty nappy because you can't actually change the shitty nappy, not because I'm just being a man and not wanting to change the shitty nappy. So yeah, finding someone that will put up with all of my tics is going to be a very, very fucking large task.
Hmm.
What about you, champ?
Me,
You're married.
champ. It's something we've talked about definitely. It's something we can do down the line. It's something we'd very much be interested in.
Are you going to call them like a wrestling name if you do have kids?
I actually jokingly said maybe I'll just call him Brian.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, you won't do that.
But in all seriousness, though, we were like, maybe we'll name him after like a granddad or something, like something meaningful.
What, so not naming him Terry after Terry Bollea is not meaningful?
More meaningful to us, like in terms of like ourselves. I think if I called one of my kids Terry, and then my wife was like,
Why'd you do
where
that?
did you come up with that idea?" And then she found out, she'd just be like, "That don't work for me, bro."
What, that massive racist and fucking egomaniac? That guy? The guy that fucking makes everything about himself all the time and puts no one over unless their name's Hulk Hogan? That guy?
Yeah,
I love
that
Hulk
guy.
Hogan though, he makes me laugh. I hate him as a person though, he's a dick. But I
Yeah,
love him.
there's
It's
a
just the
prick,
shit. The shit he comes out with just makes my day sometimes when you're having a bad day. So is your partner autistic, Carson?
They are.
Interesting. So yeah, we do all sort of come together then.
Yeah.
Because no one will have us otherwise.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's deep, bro.
Yeah. And
Well,
I did,
just
and just to be clear, I did say they because my partner and I are both non-binary.
Well, I'm not gonna lie and say I don't really understand a lot of it, but that's just because I just don't understand a lot of anything, to be honest. But it's good that you people exist. It makes the world a bit more interesting because we're just
I mean, we're
people.
still gonna be ourselves. It's just our
Yeah.
pronouns have changed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Have you always been like that, or was that something you had to discover when you were older?
I've been like this for about 6 months almost.
Fair enough.
Interesting. How does the world treat you over there with regards to like gender identity and identity as a whole?
I don't think it's no different. I mean,
Well, it's
yeah.
quite-
I mean, yeah. I have seen like some stereotypes where people have been bullied because of what they basically choose as far as gender identity means. I mean, heck, I have like a couple of friends that are transgendered, so I mean, I basically accept them for who they are and what their beliefs are. And
See, being autistic, it's been like being a fucking freak since you've been a baby anyway. So I've been excluded
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
times just for that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, since I was about 5 years old, back in like mid '80s.
That must have been rough.
Yeah.
No, I think the world has a lot of catching up to do on a lot of things. Whether it will,
Yeah.
though, is a different story. A lot of
I think
hateful people.
that's a good point, to be fair. There is a lot of hateful people, and there's a lot of people that just don't want to even comprehend that there's some things that they just don't understand, whether they can or can't begin to understand. Because there is different, like you say, Ryan, there is different like lengths to it. Some people just can't, and some people just don't want to. There is differences.
I think you can't change a person for like who they know deep down that they are.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. Like people that say people make that shit up. I'm like, why would you want to make that shit up? Why would you purposely want to be excluded and be viewed at as a weirdo? Why would you purposely want to do that? Some people, yeah, fair enough, they like attention, but a lot of people don't want they just want to be treated like a normal person.
I mean, it's like some people on TikTok, okay, I mean, they basically say that they're autistic because for like attention and views and whatever. Like, no, you don't do that. I mean, that basically offends everyone.
Like a majority of people, yeah.
That is actually autistic, you know, and ugh. I mean, if some people claim to be autistic is a trend, no, it's not.
No, it's really not.
It's
like it's not nowhere near on the same level. But I remember at school and sometimes online, you'd see people where they're like joking. They say, "Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I've got anxiety." It's like it's not really something to necessarily joke about. Me, some people have to deal with this on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate, you don't want to hear my fucking tragic backstory. It could be a movie.
Yeah, it's like they don't think about what they're saying, and then when it gets to the point where it's too late and people have said, "What you chatting like?" It's just a load of waffle, mate. It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And like not that people, well, some people definitely do it for views, but some people will do anything for attention, anything for just that little bit of, oh, you've watched this, you've gave me more like reason to keep on doing this and doing that, and like I don't know, people will do anything, even if it's negative attention.
All press is good press.
Yeah,
as some people say. I feel like that people just need to shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
that'd be really helpful because a lot of people just are very opinionated. There's always shitty opinions as well.
It's like what was the old saying? If you ain't got anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Exactly.
Depends what it is, to be fair. Some people need to be called a prat. I'm still trying to think of... No, scarily enough, I met my first transgender person only this year. Like, my 30 years of living, I met one transgender person. One person. Because, like, the media makes it seem like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But they're not. And I love them, they're great.
Yeah. I've met one person, they basically, well, they were an old colleague of mine. This was like way before they made like a huge discovery, and you know, just completely changed themselves. And this was like maybe like at least a few months, maybe more. But I mean, if I saw that person, I was like, wait, do I know you? And they were like, "Hi, I'm da 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 da." I'm like, "Oh, really?
Hmm.
I didn't even recognize you." But yeah, and plus, I also have another friend. I would like to meet this person one day, but they live in Scotland, and to me, I believe that this person is a really, really sweet person, and I just can't wait to meet her one day.
Sounds quite romantic. But yeah, that would be nice. The only people I've met, like, I don't actually think I've met anyone I've talked to online. Like, I had one friend that I was like really giddy and mates with for like 12 years, and then one day we just stopped talking because life happens and we get older, move on. But he was always someone I would like to have met, but never got the chance to.
Yeah, that's
You guys want to hear something really scary?
Sure.
sure.
I was nearly killed last year.
What?
What?
I was crossing the crosswalk and I got hit by a pickup truck.
Okay.
Oh.
The fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Whose fault
Yeah.
was it?
I mean, I had the right of way, but apparently the guy that hit me wasn't paying attention. They were just, following the vehicle in front of them. Then all of a sudden, boom, sent me flying about maybe 2 to 3 feet. And
Did you get any compensation?
well, medical is already dealt with. I just have to wait for my settlement to come in for pain and suffering. But yeah, I nearly died because of internal bleeding. Because I fractured my my knee joints. They called it a tibial plateau fracture. I lacerated my kidney in 3 places, and I had a minor spinal fracture.
Jesus.
But thankfully, I was wearing my backpack that had my work clothes in it. I mean, that definitely protected my back a lot more. But yeah, my mom actually took a picture of the truck that hit me, and my arm created a bit of a dent on the hood. I'm not joking.
Can you guys drive?
Me? No.
I don't know. No, not currently.
Yeah,
What
it's
yourself?
it's not fun sometimes.
Yeah, I take the bus everywhere I go, whether it's to work or to the store, or if it's something like further out, I get driven by family.
Hmm.
See, whenever I did my driving test, I was like, I'm fucked. Because the rain and it was like a storm. I couldn't see more than 5 foot ahead of me. And he's like, right, let's go. And I'm like, do we have to? And he's like, yeah, you have to. But I passed with like 2 minors somehow. I was like, are you fucking serious? I literally drove into a place I wasn't supposed to go. He's like, yeah, but you did it safely. I'm like, did I? Okay. If you say so. If you say so, buddy boy. But I can't do without driving now. Like, I need it for literally everything.
Yeah.
It would be nice if my friends fucking learnt to drive though, so I wouldn't have to drive everyone all the time.
I'd be like, yeah, mate, you can pony up some money for the petrol.
Oh no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I just make them feel really guilty instead. That's more fun. It's like, no,
Mental
they're like,
feeling.
yeah, it's like, yeah, do you want money for it, Ryan? You go, yeah, we think we should give you money. I'm like, oh, no, it's fine, honestly. No, it's fine. And
Yeah.
then, like, just subtly throw in a few, like, reverse psychology once in a while. Like, oh, you know, I'm just in a bit of back pain because I've been driving everyone. So could you get me something? Like, yeah, all right, sweet, nice.
I mean, plus
Do you-
with the cost of the car and the cost
Yeah.
of getting it registered, insured, all the good garbage.
Fuck that shit.
Road tax.
Yeah.
Where do you live, Ryan? Do you live with your missus or do you live parents?
Yeah, I live with my missus. Yeah.
What does she do?
She's a carer.
Who's she
She
care for?
works the night shift, like an old people's home.
Oh.
Oh, kind of like a
So-
caregiver.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, I'd like to do that job, but it'd be really depressing for me because you'd make like all these bonds with people and then they
Especially
disappear.
because I
one day.
think the floor she works on is like they've got like dementia and stuff like that.
Oh. So are you
I
gonna
was like-
stay working in petrol stations, or would you like to actually do something else?
I think it's more so a job until I find something more suitable.
Do you have any
Like I mentioned,
qualifications?
yeah, I got some GCSEs and stuff like that. I did college in IT for like 3 years, and you could say I've not really used that yet because I worked at an e-cig shop for a bit. I worked at a recycling place that just got me down all the time because I had to go on like several buses, and I was paying me like 21 quid a week just to get there.
Mm.
So eventually I was like, I physically can't keep doing this. I need to find another job.
You should work in a game shop.
I wish I did that years ago because some of them are closing down now or not really being game shops. Excuse me anymore. They're being they're selling like board games and crap.
It's depressing. I used to always go to my local game for pretty much everything, and now just there's no point. There's nothing
Yeah.
there. Thanks, digital media, screwing everything again.
Pretty much. Like you go back to when it was like COVID and stuff, and like that a lot of like digital media probably took off then as well. And then you've got like food deliveries, Amazon, just all stuff like that that makes things more convenient, but like it makes local businesses suffer because they're obviously not necessarily got the facilities for that.
I fucking loved COVID. I was one of the only people that actually liked it. I just stayed far away from people, and I was legally obliged to do so. So I was like, I have all the reason to not look at anyone, and it was fantastic. Now I couldn't go back now though, because I'm very social now. But back then I wasn't. So it was just like a dream come true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 was a real dumpster fire for some people.
Some
Me
people,
included,
yeah.
unfortunately, because I was out of work for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, you got like restaurants and bars and clubs and stuff that you'd argue that, especially bars and clubs, maybe especially clubs that aren't necessarily essential, but like their businesses will be going down because some people don't go out much at all, and some people go out even less now than they were before.
Mhm.
It's like not even necessarily just because they haven't got the money, but because they haven't got the time, and obviously some of the bars just haven't been able to stay open because they've been closed for so long. They have to keep paying for like bills or whatever, even though the bars weren't open because they just couldn't be open.
I'm a self-proclaimed hermit anyway, so I just don't like civilization full stop. And the only reason I'm having a 30th birthday party is because people kept bugging me saying, it's your 30th, you've got to do something. I'm like, I don't want to. And they're like, no, you have to, because you're 30. I'm like, right, okay.
But that's why I don't want to do anything, because I'm 30. Leave me alone.
Mate, I was old and cranky at 19. Like, I just had no motivation to do anything. Just leave me alone. But now I'm quite happy being social.
I don't know if you remember him, but there was this guy in the league that we were in, and he was swearing blind that he was a rapper.
What?
Yeah.
Was it John Cena?
No, one of the people that was in James's thing, he was saying that he was this rapper that was on this YouTube channel.
Okay.
But then, like, when we found out that he obviously wasn't, we were like, well, what was the point in necessarily lying, mate?
I love the league. There were so many weird characters on it.
Yeah.
Myself included. And good old Carlos, who may or may not be in love with me.
I just
blame
love how like talkative people were. The only thing I didn't like was when James was like, "Oh, you've got to come on and play at the certain time." I was like, "Mate, I've just come over from school. Fuck that."
James was probably on the spectrum as well, though, to be fair. He was very regimented, like a sergeant in the military.
Hmm.
You got to play 2K today, and we were like, "I don't really want to."
He betrayed me. He jumped ship to PlayStation and left me to die. Oh, sorry, that's a bit
That is a little dramatic. Yeah. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I think he changed his name to Victor for whatever reason. I don't really know why to this day. I think Scott told me.
No, that's a different James. See, I can't remember. It was so fucking long ago.
Yeah.
12 years since we spoke until today.
Yeah.
We're grown ass men now. One of us is married. Too much responsibility. I don't like it. Because you have to like set a good example. And I'm like, I just sit at my room all day, mate, and maybe go out once in a while. That's my good example.
Yeah, not everyone's the same, and I think some people just don't see that, which is weird with the world we live in.
How many dates did you go on with your missus before you thought she was the one?
I think it was even less than I even think now, because when I first asked her out, she told me the story of that she didn't even realize how like serious I was being. But then like once she did, she was like, yeah. I was like, it's weird how even the internet can bring so many people like this podcast together, even though none of us necessarily live anywhere near each other.
Mate, I live in the mountains. I'm like Bigfoot over here. No, I don't. I live in the country, in Ireland. That's it. I would like to come back to England at some point, but I've never had any reason to.
Yeah.
Like, I had family, but then we fell out, like all good families do. So, I've just no reason. Half my like 90% of my family's Irish anyway, so there's really no point in me going back over. Like I said, I would have went over to meet my mate, but then we stopped talking. So I might come over at some point. Like, if WrestleMania comes to London, then you bet your ass I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll have to all like meet up or something, especially if you're in the UK. I sometimes try to convince some of them from the Discords to come over, or most of them are all from America. I'm like, oh, look at the price that it would cost me to get to America. I think that'd be a lot as well.
Yeah,
Isn't it like $2,000?
I bet the plane ticket would be horrendous.
That's before paying for the event ticket to go see the wrestling itself.
Mm-hmm.
See, my mum says shit like that to me. She's like, "Oh, do you want to go on holiday?" I'm like, "Okay, but what are we doing on holiday?" She's like, "I don't know. We'll just go on holiday." I'm like, "Yeah, but you have to do something. Don't just go somewhere." The only time I'd ever go to the States is to see a WrestleMania, probably.
That is
That
one
would
of
be-
the reasons I'd go.
Yeah. Other than that, I would duck and cover because someone will probably try and shoot me.
No.
Man, they can get a gun before they can legally buy alcohol. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do know that. And then you wonder why I don't fucking want to go over there. Mate, I'd be shot whenever I get off the plane. They're like, "Oh no, we got a bald foreigner, shoot him."
Both
mad,
for
though.
to keep him out.
But like, I think the laws there are fucking stupid. You can literally go into Walmart and be like, "Yeah, I'll buy an Xbox, but I'll also buy an assault rifle because why not?" Like, that's funny to me.
That is crazy.
Like over here, we're not allowed to do anything, or we'll get fucking arrested. Like,
Oh,
my
life
dad's
is
been
that, mate. Your
arrested.
life is-
My dad's been arrested about 50 million times.
Some people
he
get
deserved-
arrested for the stupidest stuff.
Well, he was a terrorist, I suppose, but he actually was a terrorist. Not making that up. That's my lovely father.
Oh, I think I think what it is, Ray, you have such a to the point way of speaking that you could say anything and people would be like,
It's being autistic. We don't have a filter. We just say things. People can't understand sarcasm, especially if you sound like an answering machine.
It is like I think I've had that at work sometimes where I'll say something just plainly and then they'll be like, "What do you say to me?" I was like, "I just said, do you want any change, mate?" And they'll be like, they take it like I just stabbed their baby or something.
No, in Northern Ireland, whenever the English came over in like the 50s and 60s, there was all the troubles with the English and the Irish. So there was two sides. There was the IRA, which was like the Irish Republican Army, who were the freedom fighters in quotation. And then you had the British coming over, and that's why there's an island and a Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland's still split from all that chaos. And my dad was in the IRA because he's a fucking idiot and got arrested about 1 million times. And my uncle robbed a bank for the IRA. And that's pretty cool, to be honest. I'd love to rob a bank and get away with it.
One for those bloody kids and their dumb dog.
But who doesn't want to rob a bank? Like, that is a really cool fantasy to have. Just going in there and fucking stealing millions. And
Probably why people play GTA and crap.
Yes! That's like one of the best things about GTA. You do heists, you actually buy shit with the money you steal.
Yeah, it's wild some of the games that you can do. And some of the things you can do in those games. And how like it's advanced over years. I just remember one of the first games that I played was like Sonic Adventure 1 or something. And like when I was younger, the first time I played it, I accidentally saved over my dad's like save profile, and he like done a lot. And I think I was more devastated as I was growing up, remembering that I'd done that, than my dad was that I did it, because he probably didn't really care that much. He probably was a bit annoyed, yeah, because obviously it's time that's just gone now. But like, I was like, I can't believe I've done that. Because if somebody did that to me, I'd be fuming.
Do you remember the good old days of PS1s without memory cards?
Yeah.
Holy shit. You would have to leave that bad boy on 24/7 just so you can finish a game.
I mean, it's crazy.
I loved the PS1. That was one of the first. I think that was my first console, or it was the 64 and 64.
I think mine might have been the Mega Drive.
Sega Mega Drive. It's a shame they stopped making consoles. Some of their stuff was quite good.
Yeah.
I was really big into Sonic. I was quite a platform person actually when I was a kid. I didn't realise it, but then I look back and I'm like, oh shit, I played a lot of platformers. Mario, Sonic, technically was a platformer. Mega Man? Yeah, that's a platformer.
Yeah.
Mega Man's my main in Smash, and I don't know why, because I've never played a Mega Man game. But I'm just really good with him, for some reason.
Hmm.
And the Wii Fit Trainer. I love the Wii Fit Trainer.
Wii Fit Trainer.
We had a joke in my friend group because there was a guy that came in one week to take us out as like a social group, and he was like a real fitness person. So he was like every 2 minutes he was like, right, we're going to do this, we're going to run around like a twat for 20 minutes. And then every time I thought of that, I think of Wii Fit Trainer. So that's why I like playing as Wii Fit Trainer, so I can pretend to be that dickhead that's like, come on, let's do some stretches, and they're like, no, fuck off, I don't want to do any stretches. No, whenever you run, like, I run quite frequently, but whenever you run, fucking hell, like, I wish I started 10 years ago, because the recovery is ridiculous.
Mm.
It's like sometimes 2 or 3 days before your legs stop hurting.
Yeah, because they can like feel really heavy, or it could like seize up or whatever. Man, I
It's
just put
like
my
the
leg
best.
in this, if it's in a position it doesn't appreciate. If you're like, oh, you remember in the old days when you were at school or whatever, you have to sit cross-legged for like in assembly or whatever. At least over here we did. And I was like, why do we have to do this? Just so you don't have to put chairs out? Just so you don't have to put benches out? I was like, this is silly. Then when we did take you to churches or whatever, sometimes at my school, I was like, I'm not even religious. Why am I doing this?
Oh, I thought you were super religious. I thought you were like the next father of the family.
Oh yeah, mate, that's me. All
Yeah.
over, mate. You know me.
You gonna send me to hell?
All the way down to the hell of hell.
You see, that's the thing with religion. It's like they always tell you how bad of a person you are. I'm like, mate, I'm just sitting in my room playing Xbox. Why am I a bad person? What have I done to deserve this? Like, people can go to heaven and be really shitty people because they believe, but people that don't believe, that are really decent people, don't go to hell because they don't. Well, that's
Yeah.
backwards to me.
I think another thing that I don't agree with when it comes to religion is when, I don't know if they do it as much these days, but when they come knocking on your door.
Oh, I
And
got
like,
rid of them. They're funny. They are so funny. And you knew something's off, right? Because the guy that knocked on my door was a Jehovah's Witness. So
Yeah.
they're weird. So they like knocked on my door, and then there was this guy from London, like, because of course he's from England, and he had like a pink bow tie on, in like winter, I think it was. Like, he was fucking nuts. And then like
interesting
the
fashion
world's
choice.
yeah, weirdest fashion sense, and he just was so polite, and I was like, why are you so polite? What's going on? And he's like, do you believe in eternity? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, is eternity a thing? Like, because everything dies. And he's like, no, well, you can be saved. I'm like, but I don't want to be saved. I'm good, mate. But he was actually quite nice. He was a nice man, and he said that a lot of people just shut the door in my face. Thanks for talking to me. And I'm like, well, I can sort of see why they shut the door in your face. Because you're telling me I'm going to hell again. Just everyone wants me to go to hell. I'm just a generic white male. Just leave me alone.
One time I was around.
Shuts the door.
Yeah. Like one time I was actually at Ed's house years ago. We heard him knocking on the door. You know what we did? We all went upstairs, turned the lights off, and laughed.
Like, no.
Hey, you did an In-Betweeners. You did what? Have you seen In-Betweeners, Ryan?
Yeah.
Do you know the episode where they, what is it? They like egg someone's house, and then the guy comes round, and then they all pretend they're not home, even though he clearly sees they're home, and they like hide in under the windowsill. He's like, I know you're in there, and they're like, no, we're not. fuck off. Go home.
Like, go away! Like, okay.
You've got time to talk about Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I thought he just did carpets, man. I didn't think he was going to say anything jack shit.
When's he coming back? When's he meant to be coming back? He's meant to be coming back like 500 times now.
I thought it was a comeback, you know. Turn my water into wine, even though I don't drink alcohol.
But like, I keep seeing shit when I'm driving, like, oh, he's coming. I'm like, well, what the fuck is he? If he comes back,
You might want to hurry up. John Cena's going to retire soon.
Yeah. Jesus just comes back to be John Cena's final opponent.
JC versus JC. Book it right now, Triple H.
Mate, they would. I don't know who would want to put the other one over, because that would be really bad. Either or. It's like John's like, yeah, mate. You know, I know you're Jesus, but it's my retirement.
And you just can't even see me.
Do you remember when they did the Shane and Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels and God?
Oh.
Do you remember that? That was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was great.
All right, you're gonna team with God. It's like, oh, okay.
Like, okay.
Such great shit, pal.
Sure.
There's some good shit.
But like, it'd be funny though. Actually, in the match, is because they did the spotlight when he came down, because you know God was there, so God was coming down anyway. So it'd be funny, like in the actual match, like Shawn did like tag him in, and then like the spotlight came in, and then like Vince and Shane actually had to bump for him. That would have been the best thing ever if they did that. Just bumping for the Invisible Man.
Oh god.
It's like what was it? Vince McMahon revealed himself to be the higher power. I was like, what the hell is this? So you're telling me that Vince McMahon went out of his way that much to conceal who he was, that he put his own daughter on a cross or whatever it was?
Yeah, I remember that too. Like, what the fuck was going on? Like, seriously? Like,
It was like,
could you try explaining that to someone that walked in the room? Like, you're watching a crucifixion and someone comes in, like, what the fuck are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's just wrestling, mate. Yeah, just wrestling.
just Monday Night Raw, you know, Vince
Let's just
McMahon's up to
wrestle.
his silly old tricks again.
That would have been funny in a religious household. If they walked in and like, the Undertaker doing what he does best and burying people alive.
Literally.
Literally, yes, in some aspect.
What was it that time? Was it a match against Kane? Like there was like a cement mixer or some shit.
Oh god.
They're literally
When they
doing
poured
it.
like
wrestling.
into Vincent Man's car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he died? Like, one of his car blew up, his limo blew up once, and he was back on Raw next week. And I was like, what? He just fucking got blown up? So yeah, you can get blown up in wrestling, but then you can be back on TV the next week, apparently, because that makes perfect sense.
You get that free revive.
Well, Jesus did it.
Yeah.
He came back, and then he didn't use the respawn button again, apparently.
Controller must have disconnected.
You know, it'd be funny if we actually were in the Matrix, and Jesus was the orchestrator, like he's just playing a really high-powered video game. And then when you die, you actually just wake up as one of the boys that plays the video game, and you're like, oh, so it was simulation. That's interesting.
It's
Yeah,
like
by wake up, go like, what am I? Where am I?
Do you remember the Boogeyman wrestler?
Oh, not the boogeyman.
Oh god.
I fucking loved the Boogeyman. Boogeyman was the shit.
His
Like-
shtick about him eating worms. Oh my god.
Do you know, it's actually scary. A lot of people do that because whenever they're fishing, they put the worms in their mouth to put it on the hook. My dad told
Oh,
me.
that's crazy.
No. Mm-mm.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. But no, some wrestling characters were just fucking funny. Like Hornswoggle. Remember him?
Yes.
Vince McMahon's illegitimate son.
He was meant to actually be Mr. Kennedy, but he got sacked, didn't he? He got fired.
Yeah.
Dang.
Mr. Kennedy should have been a bigger name.
Yeah.
He was very good.
Oh god.
So who's your top 5, Ryan, now? Who would be your top 5 wrestlers?
Top 5. It's hard to say with especially the recent stuff they've been doing, but I'd say some of them are like, you got Malachi Black, which is also just Alistair Black, he just changed his name in the AEW. Like you said, MGF, he'd be one of them as well. Trying to think of some more now. Are we saying like 5 male and female, like a mix?
Well, whatever's easiest.
Yeah, I would say like there's those two, and then who would I say really? As overrated as she was at one point, I'd say it's a shame that Becky Lynch is not currently back in WWE because of the whole contract situation. She was quite good, and they need more females that are actually letting be big names.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like tag teams, I feel like the Usos were like the sort of tag team for like the longest time, and I still like the work they're doing now.
Jesse and Festus, mate.
Jesse and Festus, mate. I will not lie. It's because of them when I was like, "What the fuck is biscuits and gravy, mate?" I'm not dunking my chocolate digestive into some gravy. That ain't what it's all about.
But Luke Gallows, so he has been literally everyone. He was Fake Kane, he was fucking Festus, and then he was Luke Gallows. I think he was someone else. He imitates everyone apparently.
Yeah.
So who's your number 1?
My number 1. I don't really have a number 1 right now. For the longest time, I would have said it was still AJ Styles, but because he's not doing as much now, I do kind of like the stuff that Hangman Page is doing in AEW.
What, injecting people with fucking needles and bashing people over the head with everything and fucking stabbing each other with objects?
Well, apart from that, burning people's houses down.
Yeah. I mean, sing it, brother. I did the same thing.
But yeah, I think there's quite a few. What about both of you? Who are your favorite wrestlers at the moment?
Gunther.
Gunther, yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking good. He just makes it real. Feel real.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say Cody, because I've got a Dash and Cody Rhodes thing on my wall that I've had since I was 12, I think, or something stupid. So Cody has to be there, because here's a funny story for you. So whenever I was doing wrestling training, they went around and asked everyone who their favourite wrestler was, because Dash and Cody Rhodes at the time was my favourite wrestler. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, I love Steve Austin, I love The Rock, I love Trips, The Undertaker. And they're like, right, Ryan, who's your current favourite wrestler? And I was like, oh, I love Dash and Cody Rhodes. And they just laughed at me and said, okay, he's never going to do anything. I'm like, mate, he fucking started a company, a different alternative, and he's now beaten the top dog, the big dog, of like 4 years, like the biggest star in wrestling. So fuck you guys, I was right.
Most wrestlers
see-
you guys said just don't wrestle anymore.
So yeah, Gunther, Cody, I love them too. I always like watching them wrestle. Roman, I like watching him. LA Knight, I've always liked him. He reminds me of sort of flashback before like Attitude Era, like really big
Yeah.
mouths. And woman, I'm gonna throw a woman in because the women are fucking amazing. My favorite women's wrestler for a long time was Asuka, but she hasn't really done anything and she's been hurt. Rhea Ripley's fucking really good though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like whenever she was fighting like Charlotte at WrestleMania, like holy shit, that was one of the best things I've ever seen. Like, cause she just gets it. Like she looks like physically like she could kill half the men in AEW if she wanted to. And then she's just a really good wrestler. Like just everything she does is really believable. I'm not really a big fan of the thing she's doing now with Liv because she makes her look like a teenage daughter or something. But yeah, they'd probably be my 5 at the moment.
Sounds
What
good.
about you,
yourself,
Carson?
Yeah.
Let's see. What'd you say? Top 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So, from mine, obviously, I was a huge fan of Alexa Bliss.
Ooh.
Probably before, around the time like she got married and had her first child and whatnot. Roxanne Perez, because she's freaking amazing. Liv Morgan. Let's see. As far as guys go, I would say LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also it's also pretty cool. And I would also say Cody Rhodes. Because
Good old Cody.
yeah. And if I had like a bit of like an honorable mention, it'd be Thunder Rosa.
A lot of women.
Yeah.
That's a good
Because the funny thing is, my fiance actually did did something for me, I think for our anniversary one year. They had paid a cameo for Thunder Rosa for me, and just like, just words of encouragement and whatnot, and that's what made me, like the person, I mean, because, and I actually still have the cameo.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget that cameo exists, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of weird people on Cameo. Like what me and my mate were gonna do one year was for my mum's birthday. There was like just some random people, like just everyday people, like on Cameo that were like charging £2. So I was just gonna find like 10 of them. Like, oh, this is Jeff from France. He's gonna wish you happy birthday. It's like, who the fuck's Jeff? I'm like, I don't know. He's wishing you a happy birthday.
Who's this guy?
And then over here it'll be like, oh, and this is Jerry. He's from South America somewhere. That'll be like the funniest fucking thing. Oh, and this is Chris Hansen, because why not? But yeah, there's a lot of funny fuckers on Cameo. A lot of wrestlers as well. Like I think there's There was one of them that charges like 400 quid just for like a 10-second message. I was like, mate, I'd rather buy a new car than ask you to say something for 10 seconds.
Jesus.
Here, Ryan, do you know Nigel Farage is on Cameo?
No way.
He's fucking is. The UKIP man himself, the UK Donald Trump, is on Cameo because apparently he needs money that bad that he goes on Cameo.
Jeez. Yeah, there's a lot of people on Cameo that's gonna charge like a crap ton just for like a message.
Just because they can.
Yeah. I mean, well, it also depends on the person, whether they're like in the movies, music, anything.
If you could meet any celebrity, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
Jimmy Savile. I don't know. That's a tough question. Keanu Reeves, probably.
Yeah, he was quite a down-to-earth person.
I love The Matrix. I grew up on The Matrix, one of my favourite films. And then whenever he was in Cyberpunk, it just solidified how much I love the guy. And John Wick was good too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if you've heard of the person, but Gabriel Iglesias.
The comedian?
Yes.
The comedian.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Like, I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
What about you, Ryan?
But a part of me, even though it sounds really cheesy, part of me would still want to meet Sting.
My God, it's Sting. I actually quite like Surfer Sting. A lot of people didn't, but I actually quite like Surfer Sting.
Yeah, I liked pretty much every version
Iteration.
of Sting there was. Yeah.
Fucking dog. Ryan, do you have any tattoos?
Well, I don't have any tattoos.
Do you have any tattoos?
I don't at the moment.
Would you get any?
Keep debating on it. One tattoo I'd maybe get would be like the date I got married.
It's very sentimental, but I like it. I did get a WWE one years ago, but then I was like, I like wrestling, not WWE, so I got that changed.
Yeah.
I have like 7, I think. Everyone keeps asking me, and I keep forgetting how many I actually have, because a lot of them can be considered one. I have a lot of weird shit on my body.
Just a lot of weird shit.
Well, a lot of people say it's weird shit. Well, not really. Some of it's normal-ish. A lot of things are from like video games and stuff, and that's still quite niche. So a lot of people, especially here, don't really get video games.
Yeah. I think it's one of those where, as long as it matters to you and you have some kind of value to it, that's all that really matters in the day.
Would you still have that opinion if I had a Nazi memorabilia on my arm?
Good point.
Just like a portrait of the Führer. Just like, yeah, this is Adolf. I don't know if you've heard of him, but pretty cool guy.
Pretty cool guy. Down to earth, would never invade your personal space.
Yeah, just all about love and inclusion. That was his big selling point.
He just loved
He
his country.
killed that name. He killed that name, didn't he? Like, I've never heard of another Adolf since that.
No, I don't know if I have.
Seriously though, who would actually want to do that? I know he sort of ruined the name, but I think we could really bring it back.
We could really bring it back,
Bring the name Adolf back to relevancy again. Oh god, no, that's even worse. What kind of music do you like, Ryan?
A lot of like rock and metal, to be honest. I've gone to see Slipknot. I've gone to see Bring the Horizon.
Oh. Do you like old rock like Def Leppard and Queen? That sort of
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The amount of fucking people I talk to these days that are like, oh yeah, my favourite fucking musician is Justin Bieber. And I'm like, oh my god, save me. Because I come
My
from the
favourite
land of rock and
musician.
roll.
What's your favourite
Favourite what?
musician?
Scouting for
Like you?
Girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, I've always loved Scouting for Girls. That's today though, but of all time, that's a very fucking tough one. It would probably be some form of 80s rock. It would be like a Queen, most definitely. Queen would definitely be up there. Def Leppard.
Did you watch the Queen documentary thing they did?
The film?
Mercury? Yeah.
No.
I did. It's amazing.
See, the problem is, me and Mum knew pretty much everything about his life anyway, so I didn't really want to watch that because it might make me upset.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, well, that didn't happen. They're trying to dramatise that. I quite like
Yeah,
Biffy Clyro. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. I've learned a few of their stuff on guitar.
Yeah, I have you seen the new Linkin Park singer that they've got?
I have, but I don't know how I'm meant to feel
Yeah.
because I love Chester, and I did love Linkin Park back in the day too. I went through a bit of an emo phase and like a gothic phase, like every normal teenage person. So I went through like My Chemical Romance and Linkin Park, all that dark, depressing shit. Panic at the Disco, that was another one.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, I'm older and I don't really give a fuck what people think, so I just listen to whatever I want. I was riding downtown the other way listening to LA Knight's theme song. Just blasting that shit, driving through an estate. Like, I love wrestling theme songs, they're the best things ever. Like, trying to explain to someone why you're listening to a song where someone's saying how much of a sexy boy they am.
It's just very expressive.
I'm not your boy, toy boy. But see, like, that's just the shit that's just great about wrestling. Like, the entrance themes.
Oh, yeah.
There were some funny ones, though.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
What's your favourite wrestling theme, Ryan? Favourite wrestling theme of all time?
Favorite wrestling theme. I used to really like Stone Cold's WrestleMania 17 one that he had, where he had like lyrics and stuff. That was quite a good one.
Is that the Disturbed one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, unfortunate for the character, but I used to kind of like Chris Benoit's theme song.
Yeah, that's a bit of a sticky situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
I saw a clip of Paul Heyman doing like he was talking, I think it was Inside the Ropes, and someone kept shouting out like, "Oh, I love Chris Benoit," and he just fucking went nuts. He's like, dude, if you're gonna say that every 2 minutes, that's fine. Like, he was a great wrestler, but the guy literally killed a special needs child and his wife, and then killed himself. Like, he's not a good person.
Yeah.
That's not what a good person does. But he was a very good wrestler. I can't take that away from him. Like Logan Paul, I fucking hate the guy and I wish he would die, but he's a pretty decent wrestler. For a celebrity, like just a random average Joe that doesn't give a shit, like a Brock Lesnar, just doesn't give a shit about the sport, just to come in and actually be half decent is amazing to me.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
don't even like Logan Paul. I don't even like Logan Paul.
No one does. Like, it's normal.
Does even Logan Paul like Logan Paul? The man was advertising his product while his partner was giving birth. He was like, "Yeah, eat lunch, Lee. Here's some Prime." It's like, mate, your partner's giving birth right next to you. What are you on about?
And then he was in a suicide forest, swinging his dick around.
It's like, oh, look at this dead body. Then he started laughing about it. It's like, man, you think this is really
Like,
what you want to be
why?
putting out on your channel?
Do you remember Dude Love's theme song?
Yeah.
I fucking love that theme song too. That was like one of the funniest storylines. Like him in the rivalry with Mankind, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard you didn't like that Mankind guy, so you said nothing about Dude Love." And then Stone Cold's just standing there like wants to kill himself. He's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, what's going?" Just the facial expressions. Like Steve Austin is probably the best wrestler of all time. He was just fucking great at everything.
Yeah, it was weird that he...
Because I never saw him.
Yeah. What was it? He had the $1 million championship at one point before he became Stone Cold.
Yeah, he was stunning Steve Austin, and then he lost all the hair, and obviously bald people can't be stunning, so we had to change that.
Yeah, they got to be absolute badasses. They can't be stunning.
Yeah, that's true, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, burning down houses, you know.
You got Bruce Willis, you got Jason Statham, you got Dwayne Johnson, you got Steve Austin, and then you got Shawn Michaels. So I mean, it's not all tough guys.
Yeah, man lost his smile and then his eye got lazy.
Whenever I read back on some of the shit he was doing backstage, I was like, why the fuck would you even keep him after he did one of those things?
Yeah.
Like, he treated Vader like a piece of shit, and Vader's one of the best wrestlers ever. Because, he didn't move. He didn't know what he was doing. So he, like, threw a fit.
Jesus.
He was such a prima donna, like, and then obviously what happened with the screw job, that was another nail in the coffin.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, no wonder Bret Hart had all the issues he had. Like, fucking hell. He was just dicked around all the time.
It's funny whenever he talks about a lot of it, because Bret Hart just kind of blames Goldberg for it, and he like says his full name every time, apparently. Like, fuck Bill Goldberg.
Do you know the ironic thing about that is he did one thing wrong. Shawn Michaels made his life a misery for years. One thing. He just misplaced a kick.
And Bret Hart just hates him like with so much passion. It's unreal.
Goldberg's not like the world's greatest and most interesting wrestler, but there's been a lot fucking worse. Vince?
Oh, definitely.
Fucking hell. Vince McMahon is quite possibly the worst professional wrestler. I was a better wrestler than him, and I was there 5 minutes. Not even past training, I was better wrestler than him.
It was just hilarious that they actually had him win championships at all. Because of course he did.
Didn't he? Yeah, he won the Rumble, didn't he? Didn't he?
I think he might have done. I'm not sure. Or it was like...
Yeah, I think so, because like Steve Austin was the champ, and then they did it where like whoever lost, or whoever won rather, would become the WWE champ, and then he just like threw him out at the last minute. Because what a great idea that is. Let's put the belt on the 60-year-old billionaire that can't move. I watched a clip of him recently on like an ECW show in 2007 where he literally called Booker T the M-word, and that was on TV.
That is definitely not okay.
He's like, "What's up, my M-word?" And then Booker T's just like, tell me he didn't just say that, because that was his gimmick. And that was allowed on TV somehow. And then Carlito said something slightly racist the other day, and everyone's calling for his head.
There is
Carlito, though.
like significant difference in situations, isn't there? Like, it's like people will like go from one extreme to the other. I don't know if you know this situation that happened in TNA, but Booker T pitched something so ridiculous, but it actually happened. He pitched the fact, "Oh, let me commentate while I wrestle in a match."
So he did like the SmackDown versus Raw deal when, like, I think you could like play as one of the announcers, and he literally commentated his own match like a video game, which was hilarious.
Yeah, and it just pretty much what it was like. He was just there like, "Oh yeah, Pete Williams is knocked down," and I've kicked him, and it was just like that. It was happened in TNA. I was like, how did they think this was a good idea? I mean, it's funny, but I don't think it was necessarily something they should have done.
Wasn't Vince Russo a fucking world champion at one point?
Possibly. I know David Arquette was.
See what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Anyone can win it, apparently.
Yeah.
You had fucking Vince Russo, the writer, that wasn't even that great of a writer, and he's like, oh, well, I'm going to write myself to, be the champ, because that's going to draw numbers.
The freaks will love it.
And then, yeah, they did that weird shoot thing where he laid down. Who was it that laid down for Hulk Hogan at WCW? And he wasn't meant
Was
to
it
do
Kevin
it.
Nash or Scott Hall or something?
I think it was Nash. But yeah, looking back, like, I missed all that shit. I was too young, but looking back on it, I'm like, fuck off, that didn't happen, did it? And it did happen. Everything happens in the World Wrestling Federation.
And didn't somebody get tasered as well at some point?
So Brian Pillman literally pulled a gun on someone. He
Yeah.
was like, sorry, Steve Austin, I've got a gun, mate. I'm going to shoot you, and you better sell it.
I'm gonna shoot you. You better sell it. Oh my god.
I still think the most disgusting thing, one of the most disgusting things WWE's ever done is whenever Owen Hart died, and then they just continued the fucking show.
Yeah, they just kept going.
Oh,
Almost
well,
like,
someone's
wow.
died, but the show must go on. That was fucking... That just wasn't cool. I don't know how they got away with that, because could you imagine everyone in that audience just seeing someone literally fucking die, and then they have to try and motivate themselves to watch the next match?
Yeah. They met, like, some of Owen's friends and family would have definitely been there. You got, like, Jeff Jarrett, that was a close friend of his. And then, like, just like, I always wondered who was to blame in that situation, but surely it would have been, like, just the equipment in general, like.
If you watch like I watched a documentary on it, and apparently the equipment was like used for actually dropping. So like the latch apparently was used for quick release. So it's meant for like parachutes or some shit. And they used that instead of using a proper like tight, well-made thing because they want to save a bit of money. And then doing so, poor Owen had to die.
Jesus Christ.
And he was the
It's a bit
funniest
late,
fucker.
Oh,
Like, I read some of the stories that he did backstage, and he would have been the funniest person to hang out with. Like the time he used to like ring people up and pretend to be his dad and then try and start fights in hotel lobbies. Pretend to be Stu.
just fuck around for the sake of it.
Did you ever like read about the story that Hulk Hogan pretended to get like a neck injury from the Undertaker's tombstone?
I don't think I did.
So basically, whenever Hulk Hogan didn't want to do the job, because he never does, He was wrestling the Undertaker, and it was whenever Undertaker was like the actual zombie Undertaker, so like early '92, I think, or '93. He was going to beat Hulk Hogan, like just one of the big achievements. And then apparently backstage, Hulk Hogan was like, "Brother, I've got this neck issue. I'm really hesitant about taking the tombstone." And then he's like, "Oh, I can. It's all right, Terry. I'm really safe with the tombstone. I've never hurt anyone, and I promise you, I won't hurt you. I'll take good care of you." And he's like, "Yeah, but just watch the neck." So of course, inevitably, once the move comes, Undertaker drops him. Nothing happens. Like, he is safe as safe can be, but Hulk Hogan pretended that he actually dropped him on his head to try and get him fired because he didn't want to lose. That's Hulk Hogan
I mean,
for you.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like something Hulk Hogan would do. As bad as
Literally,
that sounds.
listen to Undertaker's podcast. He will tell the story, and it's fucking ridiculous. But it's so ridiculous I can believe it because Hulk Hogan just makes up shit for personal gain anyway.
Yeah. What was it? Didn't Undertaker have Donald Trump on his podcast recently?
Yeah, he fucking did.
That's like,
No,
it just
yeah,
seems so random to
yeah.
have a politician on a wrestling podcast.
Well, Trump's not like the most outrageous person. He was literally in the Battle of the Billionaires at WrestleMania one year.
Yeah, and isn't he also technically in the Hall of Fame or something?
Yes, but let's not talk about that. There's a lot of fucking people that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that aren't in it, and he is.
Yeah.
I don't think Vader's in it, is he?
watching.
No, Vader is in it.
Yeah, I think he was in it recently.
Was Sid Vicious the one? Yeah, Sid Vicious isn't in it. He should be
I
in
think
it.
he's. People have been speculating he might be put in there soon. I think he passed away recently, or somewhat
Yeah, he did.
recently. Yeah.
No, that's why I was thinking of it, because usually when people die, like wrestlers are like, "Why is this guy not in the Hall of Fame?" Like, how the fuck isn't he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
It's like Dave Meltzer, the world's greatest wrestling journalist, who's like, "Yeah, fucking the Young Bucks over here have had 55-star matches, but Kurt Angle's never had one." It's like, okay, mate, if you say
Okay,
so.
mate. Amazing logic there, mate. Let me know where you figured this one out. Like some wrestlers don't put so much credence in it. Yeah.
It's the flips. It's not the actual amazing technical ability of Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania.
I just don't understand it sometimes with how much people put into the reviews and the star ratings that some of these people have.
I think it would be a lot better if some of the wrestlers didn't make it their actual fucking gimmick.
Yeah.
Because the Young Bucks literally do that. They call their wrestling moves after him. So he's like, "Oh, that's funny, that's cute. I'll give him 5 stars now."
I think some wrestlers and some wrestling personalities are in their own head so much that you tell them something negative and they'll just try and spin it to make themselves seem more like better than what they are.
Well, it's like show business with wrestling. It's still like a ego thing. So a lot of them are going to try and put themselves over, brother, so they can punish people. That's stupid to me. Like, yes, everyone should look after themselves, but say, for example, you're at the top of your game for like a few years and then you get a bit older. Why wouldn't you want to return the favour? Because that's what the veterans that you had did for you to make you the best in the world.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a give and take. You can't just have it one way. And then, like, I do sometimes feel like in some wrestling stories, there is times where you have like a few camps where some people are like, I prefer wrestling this way, I prefer wrestling that way. I prefer when the younger guy goes over, I prefer when the guys who made the company go over. It's all like do you want story or do you want better wrestling? So why can't we just have both?
Apparently, it's too complicated. Apparently, it is literally too complicated. Like, I've been saying this for nearly 30 years.
Yeah. But it
But
must
what
be,
do you
'cause
re-
otherwise we're all just losing our mind.
what do you remember more, though? Like, the really big storylines or the wrestling matches?
I mean, that is a good point. It's all like you'd think it should like one elevates the other, and they go like sort of hand in hand. But sometimes it's like the big moments sometimes can be the wrestling spot, or the wrestling spot could be because of how the story was.
I'll give you an example. Whenever Cody won the second Royal Rumble, and then he did the promo where he's like, "All right, I'm going to fight you, but not at WrestleMania." And then The Rock comes out, and then The Rock does what The Rock does best, fucking Hollywood Rock over here. Just marches down, and he's like, "Well, it'll be the world's biggest wrestling match." And it's like, yeah, but we've literally had 3 years of fucking story telling this is what's going to happen with Cody and doing the 2-year build up. So in that instance, proved my point that storyline matters more than big matches, because you can have Sting and Undertaker, or you can have like a 3-year build up of Sting and Undertaker. You need people to invest. It's all storytelling.
Yeah, it's like you go from point A to B to C. You don't necessarily want to rush things, but then sometimes you get to the point where they don't even want to do the tiniest bit. Like, why should I invest if they're not going to? That's how it feels sometimes.
Like Steve Austin was very good at it, and Brett. Whenever they told wrestling stories, they would work on a body part, and then the other person would sell the said body part. So, for example, if you're fighting the Undertaker and you chop at his legs and he tries to lift you up to do the tombstone, he will struggle doing so, and then he will sell that, and then it will make sense why he can't easily kick the shit out of someone half his size, because they've taken him down like a tree to his level.
Yeah.
Like, that shit makes sense to me. Like, Shawn did it at WrestleMania. Like, I think the first time he worked on the leg and then he had to drop to Shawn's size, and then that way you can be like, oh, Shawn might actually have a chance here.
Yeah. It's good when they involve stuff like that into it, or like sometimes if they've already got like an injury prior to how the story starts, or if the injury is the story, it's how the wrestlers sell it. Like you say, that matters sometimes. Because when people just don't sell, it can be just as bad as overselling.
Fucking hell, I can name a few people that are very, very good at no selling. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of those boys over in AEW are very good athletes, but whenever I see someone get dropped on their fucking head with like a reverse Hurricane Runner and just get right back up and then give him one, and then he gets right back up and gives him one in the space of like 2 seconds? The fuck?
Yeah. So what the hell is that? That's not wrestling. That's just like you're at the circus, mate, and you're the clown.
But you're getting dropped on your fucking head. Like, if that happened in 1970, the guy would have been stretched out.
Yeah.
He would have like, there'd have been a death angle. He'd have been dead. But now it's like a part of a spot where it's like, all right, you drop me on my head, and then I'll get up straight away, drop you on your head, because that's a cool moment. But really, you're going to kill yourself doing so, and have a lot shorter careers.
Yeah, but like I'll super kick you, then you super kick me. We'll bounce off the ropes, and then I'll do a Canadian destroyer. You'll kick up and you'll do a Canadian destroyer, and then you'll do a Hurricane Rana, then I'll do a Hurricane Rana, and then we just keep going from there until we stop for a minute and the crowd go wild. It's like, yeah, that's all well and good, but what's so good about that?
That happens way too much over on AEW. All their matches are like that. I think if they had like a bit better storytelling, and then you use some of the athleticism as a part of the story, it might make more sense.
No, definitely.
Like, fucking hell. Like, dropped on your head and then you get straight back up. Like, I remember whenever... Do you remember the Great Khali?
Yeah, he was stiff as hell.
Right? He came down one episode of SmackDown and he literally, like, grabbed Batista's head and held him there for about 2 seconds, and then Batista passed out and, like, died. So, like, if that kills someone, but literally being dropped on your head and you get straight back up, like, that just is fucking bonkers to me.
What's your opinion, Carson, on how they handle things in AEW?
What? Me?
No, Carson, like, what's your opinion on how they handle things in AEW? That's a good sign for the hurdle.
Because I don't watch too much AEW except for like special events. But obviously, I think basically what they're doing is sort of like the opposite of what WWE is practically doing, and that's what really, like throws everybody into a bit of a loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I suppose, what product would you rather somebody new to it would you show to them? Like, would you go, which is more impressive, this or this? Like, sometimes it's like it might
Depends on
take
their
them out of
age.
it. Yeah.
If you're like trying to show how cool and flippy something is and it's like physically impressive to like a teenager, then yeah, you'd show them AEW. But if you want something with a bit more substance, with like really top stars, then you'd show them the World Wrestling Federation. It still annoys me that they had to change that just because the WWF was the panda people, wasn't it? Like saving the animals.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a T-shirt once, and I should have bought it, where it's like the WWF, right? But instead of the two pandas, it's the two pandas, and one of them's got a steel chair.
Oh, that's good. I might have to find that and buy one myself.
Yeah, I might have to do that actually, because I just remembered that. That was fucking brilliant, because you're supporting both companies technically, even though one of them's got a steel chair.
It always interests me how real those steel chairs were sometimes.
Thankfully, I didn't have to get hit with one in training. Do you know what really hurts though? Being chopped.
Mm.
You know where they do like the backhand chops?
Yeah.
That fucking stings like a motherfucker. It's like stubbing your toe. It really hurts for like 2 seconds and then it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that instant gratification of like hearing somebody like in pain, but it's like sometimes it's the way it's done and how frequent it's done. I definitely feel like there's some moves that have less impact than others.
Body slam's not too bad.
Hmm.
I've been body slammed quite a few times. It's
Mm.
it's like air leaves your lungs quite quickly for a second, but then you get your breath back quite quickly. Arm drag isn't too bad. Suplex is easy, but fucking anything to do with forearms or chops, not fun. That's why I hate to wrestle Rick. I hate to wrestle Rick because he just chops the shit out of you for 20 minutes.
And then falls asleep.
Or Gunther, actually. Fucking hell. Gunther would whip me so bad, and I'd be like, please just pin me, Gunther, just finish it. Stop chopping me.
Just end it all, mate. This ain't it, Chief.
See, this is what Cody's problem is. I think, like, him and Gunther would main event a WrestleMania, but they've done it too soon, sort of, because they wrestled at Crown Jewel recently. I think they should have waited till like WrestleMania and done like a Cody and Gunther. That would have been fucking awesome. I think they might do that, but it might take a while.
I think that would definitely be a match that I'd like to see several more times. I don't know what it is about the match type of a 2 out of 3 falls and the Iron Man stipulation, but sometimes I like the whole build up of the person you think's going to win doesn't win for the longest time, and then they start to build up momentum. But sometimes in those situations, you get the whole thing of, oh, how believable is it really?
Do you know what they need to bring back? Because it makes sense now in the internet age, like a Taboo Tuesday sort of deal, where you actually vote.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why they did it back then. I'd fucking dial up whenever they were doing that shit. And then it was always really stupid because it was like, all right, would you rather have Jimmy Wang Yang, Chavo Guerrero, or Steve Austin? That's a hard one. But if they did like a legit one where it's like, right, we're going to do Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus another really good babyface and versus like another really good babyface, then that would be interesting because you wouldn't actually know who's going to fucking win.
Yeah.
Rather than fucking who's going to be the special ref? Is it going to be Eric Bischoff? Is it going to be Paul Heyman? Is it going to be fucking Hornswoggle? I don't know.
So many choices.
I definitely
They
think that's
should
the
do
sort
that.
of thing they should bring back. Cyber Monday, Taboo Tuesday?
Sunday?
Something.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Because it makes so much sense now because internet is everything. Like back then it wasn't really everything. It was sort of becoming its own thing. But now it would make so much sense. And it would be just cool. It would get a lot more, I think, interaction with the fans also. Get people involved a bit more.
I used to think whenever they had voting on the show before, that a lot of time I was like, how is it that they're actually voting? Is it more rigged that the result they want usually always happens?
There was one that I saw that was actually like, okay, that would be hard to choose. It was like Shelton Benjamin. It was Jericho defending against the three options were Edge, Shelton Benjamin, and someone else, and they're all sort of like similar popularity, so you didn't actually sort of know who was going to win that one. But most of them were just fucking stupid. Who do you want to see wrestle Kurt Angle for the world title? Do you want Vince McMahon? Do you want fucking Bubba Ray Dudley? Or do you want The Undertaker? I don't know. That's a tough one.
Tough decision right there. It's got to be Vince. The higher power all the way, mate.
I loved seeing him take the stunner at the last WrestleMania. Do you remember that? He literally fucking ice skated across the ring because his knees just fucking failed him. And even Steve Austin was pissing himself.
Yeah.
He was just dying laughing. There was another story as well with like Vince apparently pitched a story where he wanted to be the father of his daughter's child.
What?
I swear to God, I am not lying. If you Google that shit exists. Like it was like whenever she got with Triple H and she became pregnant for the first time, he was like, well, I know it'll be a good story. How about I'm the father? And she's like, no. How about no? Well, what about Shane? No, definitely not. It's fucking.
It's the first face you see when you Google Vince McMahon. It's just him going.
Yeah, it's completely nuts. The man was a complete fucking lunatic. He still is a complete lunatic, but I've known it for years. And he was so pervy as well. He was always really perverted. Always booking like these really weird fucking sexual angles where apparently every diva was madly in love with him and always wanted to make love to him. If I was
I hated that crap.
If I was writing the TV, I would have like really made him uncomfortable and be like, "All right, Vince, got your love interest. It's Pat Patterson." They're like, "Oh, okay. Why do you want to do that?"
First time I've ever heard that.
No, it's going to be Rikishi.
Oh God.
Like that one segment where The Rock brought Rikishi down and gave him the stink face.
Oh.
Top 5 dummy storylines.
I still laugh that Rikishi was the one that ran Steve Austin over, though.
I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people.
Like, and then his daughter now, The Rock's daughter, was briefly wrestling, but she was...
Now she's just NXT general manager.
Totally not nepotism. Totally deserved.
Yeah, she
Like,
definitely
why-
didn't just get the job because she's The Rock's daughter at all.
Yeah, why have William Regal, a tried and tested, really good general manager, when you can have a woman that has never spoken a word in her life that no one gives a shit about? Makes perfect sense.
Oh, she's related to The Rock, though, so that's okay.
I
So we've
said
got like
this
5.
one time, right? I said, like, someone said, like, Samoa Joe, you relate to The Rock, and then he accused them of being racist, and I'm like, well, I get it to a point, but like literally every WWE wrestler from Samoa is related to The Rock in some capacity.
That's literally Drew's whole storyline right now. The bloodline.
Yes. You had fucking like Umaga, he was related. Yoko was related. Fucking
Yeah.
everyone that was from even a neighboring Samoan country was fucking related to The Rock.
I can't believe how well. It's like that thing they had on Netflix about that documentary sort of thing with Vince McMahon. And it's just, I haven't watched it, but I've heard how ridiculous it is. Top 5 dumbest storylines Vince McMahon is involved in. The higher power. You've got Vince McMahon versus Donald Trump, hair versus hair. Vince McMahon stages horrible atrocity. The limo when it catches on fire.
Yeah, with him in it.
The myriad sexually explicit scenes involving himself and the women that were there. And then number 1 is Vince and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God.
I told you. I fucking told you. It was great. Like, that shit would have sold every stadium in the fucking universe. Could you imagine pitching that to him, though? Like, seriously? Like, in a sane universe, if you pitch that to any other wrestling booker, yeah, I want to team up with God, mate. He'd fucking fire you.
They'd be like, I don't think so, mate.
I'm like, no, I think I want to team up with Jesus. He's more my style.
At least he'll get back up again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, instead of Y2J second coming, it's literally the fucking second coming.
You
Like,
just can't actually win the match.
Yeah, it's the countdown, like the big 2007 return where he like posted loads of cryptic messages, and then it's just Jesus that comes out. I'm here to save us.
You can be redeemed.
Save us, Austin. Austin, save us.
Oh God! Can you imagine if Chris Jericho ever came back to WWE as he is now?
Yeah, I totally want to see that.
The thing is, Chris Jericho probably wouldn't care, and he'd still try and find a way for it to happen.
Fucking, the man's like 100. He needs to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not being horrible to the guy, but dear God, he's just not been interesting for about 7 years.
The worst part is his story right now is pretty much just him leaning into the fact that people don't like him.
I think they shouldn't have done those like press scrums they did, because it just made everyone look like a right fucking idiot. Like, how could you even like any of these people? Because whenever they're actually talking about their great ideas, you're like, oh my God. That's why CM Punk could kick the shit out of half of them, because I would have. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean I have to lie down for a guy with his hands in his pockets? I'm not doing that.
He's not even wrestling properly, bro. His hands are in his jeans pockets. And while he's kicking the crap out of me, he's got his sunglasses on.
I hate the motherfuckers that try and justify that shit because I'm like, yeah, let's see how he does against the ring, like across the ring from Steve Austin. Let's see if Steve Austin would work with him. That'd be very interesting. He would fucking kick the shit out of that kid if he even suggested that to him. Because wrestling was sort of protected for a while.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fake, but not in your face fake. Suspension of disbelief.
I always found it interesting when you see wrestlers go onto TV shows and stuff, and they get asked just how fake it is, and some of them get so offended. It is quite interesting.
Did you ever see who was it, Dave Schultz, that kicked the shit out of the reporter for asking him that? I can't remember. And then Vader snatched someone on a interview where they're like, "Oh, I could do your job. It's fake, innit?" And he just got up and fucking stretched him. I thought that was hilarious. But it's so disrespectful. You don't like fucking go to a show, right? And you watch a movie and then you interview a film like a Henry Cavill or a fucking Chris Hemsworth, and you're like, "Yeah, but the film's fake, mate." He'd be like, "So, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course it's fake. Life's fake. It's a fucking... It's a projection from your brain to create consciousness. It doesn't necessarily mean it's real, motherfucker."
Oh, it's wild. It's like that whole argument of when people go, "But you know it's fake, though, right?" It's like, well, man, you just blow my whole mind. I didn't know that.
One day someone asked me that and I was like, "No, it's not. What the fuck are you talking about? It's real." He's like, "No, it's fake." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's real. Are you trying to tell me that this man who came from the grave and is walking around in white makeup looking like he's literally a zombie is not a zombie? Is that what you're fucking telling me?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm telling you." I'm like, "Mate, you've blown my mind. I could have never figured that out."
And his brother's got a burned face, and he
literally attempted murder on his brother, and his brother is miraculously alive and comes back and rips
and
the cell door
no longer
off,
burned.
and then uses a fucking voice box to speak. I used to love Paul Bearer, you know. He was one of my favourites. Just that high-pitched voice.
I think it's a shame that he wasn't alive to actually get his Hall of Fame speech and what have you, like.
I don't think, honestly, though, Vince thinks about half these people until they do die. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, they work for me. I'll put them in the
They
Hall
work
of
for
Fame."
me. I probably owe slow the money.
Santino Marella was another one that I'm like, how the fuck does this guy have a job? I could do his job.
Santino Marella, what a legend.
He literally got a job because he got Jim Cornette fired.
Did he? I don't even...
Yeah. Because whenever they were doing like the training in OVW, they were trying to like make the boogeyman come across as semi-serious. And then Santino didn't get the memo that he was meant to run. And he didn't run, he just laughed at him on TV. So of course you're not meant to do that shit in front of an old school wrestling booker / manager, or else you'll get your shit kicked in. So Jim Cornette literally bitch slapped him and then got fired for it. Hulk Hogan actually got shit kicked out of him by Randy Savage one time. Like, do you not remember that WrestleMania we were talking about when he came out and basically took Bret's spot? He had a massive black eye.
Yeah.
And that's how he got the black eye. He got the shit kicked out of him backstage for doing Hulk Hogan things.
For doing Hulk Hogan things. At this rate, every podcast we have on here, whenever people come on, that'll be a segment, Hulk Hogan things. And people just get to talk about the silliest things they can think of that Hulk Hogan's probably also done.
Well, he's married to a Scientologist.
Like, I think it's crazy the amount of things that he says. Never mind the things that he's done.
Mate, I don't know what's worse. The things that he's done or the things that he says. Both equally, like, abhorrent. Like, he's a fucking twat, that man. Like, the things he just comes out with. I'm like, why do you even come out with half of these things you're coming out with? Like, who are you trying to impress? Yourself? I think he just does it, you know? Like, I can't honestly believe someone actually believes their own bullshit that much. He's doing it for reaction. It's got to be.
Yes.
Or else he's completely lost it. Which is also very believable. I just love his lies, though. Like, my mum, like, she doesn't even like wrestling, but I tell her some of the lies, and she's like, fuck off, he didn't say that. I'm like, I'm telling you, mum, he said that. Apparently, Elvis was a big Hulk Hogan fan, and Elvis was dead before Hulk Hogan was even a thing. That was one of my favourite lies that he says. Oh, yeah. Back in the 60s, you know, Elvis was a Hulkamaniac. It's like, yeah, but he was dead before you were Hulk Hogan. You were a bass guitar player in a band at that point, mate. He was a really big Hulk Hogan fan. Like, I'm a big Hulk Hogan fan. Like, everyone likes Hulk Hogan the wrestler to a degree, but fucking hell. The man is just a lunatic. And he was on Trump's rally, like, a few weeks ago, like, ripping the shirt off. Like, cutting a Hulk Hogan promo saying that Trump's gonna fucking Trumpomania's running wild. I'm like, yeah, he's lost it. He's just gone. And then Ric Flair's the same. He was trying to start a fight in a fucking pub or something recently. For some reason.
I think I saw that.
I might make you 70, like you're like 80 quid. Not 80 quid. 80 years old.
You can tell we've been talking for about 3 hours, can't you?
Is that how long we've been talking for?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, okay. Well, I knew we'd talk for a while anyway, because we have 12 years of shit to discuss.
Yeah, I'm going to say, this probably won't be the first time you'll be on. I'm sure there's more stuff that we could discuss even after.
Oh, yeah, mate. How often do you do these?
It all just depends on time off and when, because if somebody's from a different place than the UK, then I have to work my time off around their time off. Or if they're from the UK, and then I have to just be like, oh, when are you free? And I can try and work around that. Someone the other day was like, oh, I've got these many hours and this many hours. I was like, I work night shift, so most of the time I'm awake until early hours in the morning, and then I'm asleep until like I try to work around people as much as I can. I'm more than reasonable.
Yeah.
If I can give you like the best piece of advice ever, never, ever, ever, ever try and do D&D with people from different countries. Don't do it. I tried doing that shit. I had 3 people from America. I had one person from Estonia. I had someone else from like some other place. I can't remember what it was called. No, everyone was busy. And then you get one day, 4 people can do it, but one person can't. So then you have to fucking change it again. And we never actually played because we couldn't. So do it in real life. Even that's hard. But don't ever do it internationally because good luck.
It's funny you say that because there was a few times we said about the idea of doing D&D online with some of the people in the Discord, but I don't know how well that would really go.
I mean, all you really need is a few hours, but then you're working with people from the States, and then there's like 20 different time zones in the States anyway. It's like, over here, we're lucky because in the UK, we have one time zone.
Yeah.
But in America, you have like Eastern time, Pacific time, fucking time, this time.
Mountain time,
yeah, you basically have like Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific.
But it makes sense though, because America's a really big place. But fucking hell, it's impossible to try and schedule anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I do apologize if I showed up a little late because I just got home from work and it's like, plus traffic was a bit of a mess coming from Ann Arbor to Ypsilanti.
No, trust me, we're busy men. We understand. I'm fucking knackered. I was at a fucking doctor's with one of the people I look after who had to stop from trying to kill herself last week, so I'm just done.
Ooh.
Like, I love doing what I do and I love working with younger people, but unfortunately, you have to deal with the bad side of dealing with young people, which is really bad mental health, and girls that say they don't want to be here anymore, and then me trying to persuade them that I want you to be here and there is plenty of reason to stay, and then them not fucking listening. And then you feel bad because you feel like you can't do anything sometimes. Like, I sit and talk to one girl, for example, for the past few weeks for an hour, and she just tells me all of the bad shit that is wrong in her life and how she just wants to kill herself, and I have to try and find the energy to give her the right advice while trying to keep myself sane, because I'm sitting there just like get like flashbacks from whenever I was a teenager, because I was going through the same shit too. But that's how I can help them as well, because I'm like, look at me, I'm a 30-year-old man, I fucking made it, sort of, somehow. But yeah, that's just why I'm tired most of the time now. I love my job, even though it's not a job, but it will be a job. But I love what I do, but it's fucking tiring.
Are you like
Yeah.
a counselor?
Not a counsellor, I'm a youth worker, so I work with the youth.
Oh, okay.
So maybe a youth counsellor, you could say.
Okay.
Like, mainly people on the spectrum, young autistic people who have trouble with identity regardless. So, trying to impart some of my wisdom as an older man on the spectrum to younger people on the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's fun, but it's hard at the same time.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
how
I'm free on Tuesdays, Brian, so I can
yeah,
do
like most
do it on
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
Or...
Every Tuesday at the moment.
Yeah.
It might
Mainly
change.
free on Mondays and Wednesdays because those are my days off. But other than that, anytime after 4 Eastern.
Yes, that'll be about 9 o'clock here, I think.
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, I'll post what my days off are, and then if I've not worked, for example, say if I've not worked Monday but I'm working Tuesday night, that'd make it easier if we're doing a video, right? Because then we can work around me working and stuff, even if it's just like a shorter video.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to the podcast, how's your experience been for both of you so far? Like, have you found it quite easy to talk?
Well, other than the fact I'm dying of tiredness, yeah.
Well, honestly, I mean, this is my first time being on this particular podcast, and I think it's great. I mean, just glad to just be on it and to just be myself and just have fun with it.
Yeah. We're all freaks here anyway.
Most people might prefer this format anyway because it's literally just like a group chat. Whereas the other format that I've also got is where I literally just have an interview with the person. We just chat about things. I ask them questions. They can ask me stuff back. But this format's a lot more chilled out, and we can just talk for as long as we want, really.
Yeah.
So is the interview one like a similar thing?
Yeah, it's slightly similar to this, but like sometimes in the Discord and on Facebook or whatever, I'll ask if there's anybody that wants to ask the person questions and stuff like that, and then I'll get them like organized to what I'm going to ask. It's fairly similar. This format's more laid back, but I always try to tell people that are coming onto the interview version of it to not like worry or anything. It's literally just the same sort of like vibe. You just try and have a fun, just have a conversation. Because sometimes, at least how I've seen the world these days, people don't always like to talk.
It's easier when you get older because you don't care anymore. That's true. Like you have a lot of negative dispositions whenever you're younger, but whenever you get older, you just experience too much life, and you're like, I don't care. I just don't care anymore. Just fucking talk. Talking's fun.
Yeah, exactly. People get to talk about their experiences as much and as little as they want, and that's it really. And it's always nice to ask them their opinion on wrestling. 'Cause that is like a focal point of the podcast. Where I always try to explain to people as much as I can that you don't have to like wrestling to come on. It's just like a little thing I like to ask people.
Mm-hmm.
It's all we know. We don't know anything else.
Don't take my wrestlings from me.
We only know wrestling. Other than wrestling, we have nothing to live for. No, I find a lot of people are like that though. They're very like they're only really good at one thing, like into one thing, and they don't have anything else interesting to say. But I like trying like a bunch of different things so I can have more conversations with people. Because a lot of people are very boring. Like my mum's friends, for example, you ask them what they do. So what do you do every day today? Oh, just sat in the house. Didn't do anything. Like, oh, what do you do? Work? No. Okay. Sweet. And that's that.
Yeah, it's like sometimes people don't know how to put it. They don't know what they really want to do, so they just stick to doing nothing.
I still don't know what I want to do in my life.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's nothing really wrong with that.
Oh, I think there is whenever you have to worry about money.
Oh, yeah, there is that.
No, I'm lucky. I'm lucky in a lot of ways. But I've always wanted to work and have a proper job, fucking be able to contribute well to society.
Then
But I
the
think,
taxman
like,
takes money off you.
yeah. But see, a lot of people put way too much pressure on themselves. That's a lot of the problem with the younger girls I work with. One of them's like, "Oh, I need a job at 16. I need to look after my mum and dad." And I'm like, "Your mum and dad's grown fucking adults. They can look after themselves. Look after yourself. That's why you're in a fucking state."
Yeah, pretty much. Like, there is that whole thing of people don't take time for themselves sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of people like struggle with that though, especially men. It's a fucking epidemic, isn't it?
Yeah,
The amount of
people don't
men,
like to talk.
amount of men I've talked to, even some of my friends that are quite clearly fucking losing their marbles, feel like they have to put on a brave face because men are seen as the providers of society, when really they're dying on the inside. I sometimes think like that too about myself, but then I do talk about it, so I'm not like most men.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, or should we end this episode here?
What's the worst date you've ever been on?
Oh, question: is this podcast PG?
No, I've swollen about
yeah.
50,000 times.
I'd say keep it as PG as you can, but you know, there's only so many things you can cover up.
Going to a hotel room every single time.
Oh.
Eh.
I'm like, what, you want to watch TV, mate? No? Okay. That'd be my idea of a good date, just sitting up and fucking watching a film and not move.
And this was like way before I met Travis. Way before. But never again.
So what do you do in the hotel room? Clean?
You don't want to know. I
think I've only actually been on like 2 official dates, so I don't have a lot of experience.
Oh, right. Can't really think of any bad dates that I can think off the top of my head that I've really been on.
I did go out with a girl very briefly in school, and she was one of the best looking girls in school. Like, I was a bit of a Casanova as a teenager, believe it or not. And I met up with her one weekend, and we were just not fucking compatible in the least, because we got on as mates at school, but you don't know a person until you've actually been in their house with them. And yeah, she really liked to drink,
Oh,
and I was spending my whole night there as a 15-year-old boy, babysit. Literally babysit. I didn't even get a fucking kiss or anything. I was devastated. So I was just like, yeah. Whenever she said to me, do you want to be friends? I was like, yep, I'd love to be friends.
Oof.
But yeah, that's the extent of my dating experience. Because most people that want me are men. It's really annoying. It's true though, like there's a guy who I'm friends with who has told me that he has feelings for me. And I'm like, for fuck's sake. I can't do anything with that, mate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. I'm not wired that way. I love you as a friend, but that's about it. And the girls love that shit as well. They always bring it up. Always like, oh, when you get married to your boyfriend? No, I'm not getting married to my boyfriend. How dare you? I said maybe in 10 years, if I'm really lonely and miserable, I might consider it.
Jesus Christ, man.
See, that's the love you get.
Just sending out
You're
good
picked.
vibes, you know?
Yeah, it's just love. Pure love. Of how lonely and miserable I am. Oh my god. I'm gonna go to bed here in a minute anyway.
I was going to say, I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
I gotta fix dinner.
What are you
gonna-
cooking?
Pizza.
Oh.
What kind of pizza?
3 meat.
I came home yesterday at like midnight, I think it was. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to cook chips and chicken. And I had like a midnight dinner. And it was like the greatest thing ever because sometimes I try and watch what I eat. So whenever I'm busy all day, I don't fucking worry about eating. But whenever I come home, I'm always like, oh, I'm really hungry. So whenever it's like midnight, have a big dinner and then just go to bed. You don't have to worry about how much you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
But yeah, with that, I think we'll call it there for the episode 3 of this. And yeah, hope to have you both on again sometime.
Yes, sir.
From one Ryan to another Ryan, from Ryan to Carson to Ryan. But yeah, this has been certainly a great experience, especially considering I've not spoken to Ryan in like 12 years.
Yeah. But hopefully it won't be another 12 years.
Maybe at most like 12 days.
Yeah, probably most likely 12 days.
But yeah, it's been great to speak to you both.
Yes, sir.
Feel free to share the podcast with pretty much anybody, really.
I told my mum I was doing a podcast, and she says, I'm not fucking watching that. My mum wanted to do a podcast and tried to get me on there. I'm like, I'm not doing a fucking podcast with you. Because she would just mug me off the whole time. She'd just make me look like a twat the entire time. Like, oh, Ryan, do you remember that time? I'm like, yeah, I did. But yeah, I might share it with a few people actually. I'll be like, yeah, do you remember how I really like wrestling? You should watch this and let's listen to me just talk gibberish for like an hour. Well, 3 hours.
But yeah, I think it's been a good experience all around. Like I say, share it with whoever you feel like. See what they say. You never know. Maybe we could have more people come on than just 3 of us at once. Maybe we'll have it so we've got people talking. We'll rotate people in and out. Maybe we'll do like a group discussion. But so far, I think it's been quite good.
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments what you've enjoyed about this the most. Anyone when they watch it, like, comment, subscribe, all that lovely good stuff. And we will hopefully see you again soon. Have you got anything to plug, either of you? You got any social media or anything?
I'm on my iPhone, so yeah.
Mate, I'm a hermit. I don't have anything that I would plug and nor that I would want people to know of. I just like talking shit. Maybe follow me on Twitter. Maybe.
For me, I'm on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and also on Facebook.
Well, like I say, anything that you guys want me to put in the description, I'll do it. And again, thanks very much from me, Ryan Conic Shadows. You got this way, Brian and Carson.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again, and see you later.
Bye.
I'll see you later. Good night.